turning into punk rock from the 50s to the 70s. It's the same aesthetic.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing too. But rockabilly still. I mean, Reverend Horton Heat's a great rockabilly.
I love the Rev. He is great.
And they should have been put in there.
Man, we screwed this thing up.
They are kind of, that's Reverend Horton Heat is Reverend Horton Heat. I mean, I know that's not his name, but that is hard to call them a band, even though they are a band. Don't get me wrong. That's Reverend Horton Heat. You know, it's almost like Father John Misty. You know, he's not Father John Misty, but you know what I mean? I don't know. I do like Reverend Horton Heat, though.
I always love when
I think the bracket's fucked already.
it's so messed up.
It's awesome, Chad. It's perfect.
Oh, you're saying our brackets like America rush to market without proper
Welcome back to the lot. Llama, good to have you back. I think we missed you last week. Welcome everybody out there. Tonight, we find out a very important answer to a very important question. Who has a better draw to the lot? Tom Marshall or
Bobby Bonilla?
Bobby? Yeah, he gets $1.9 million tomorrow from the Mets.
He is the highest played baseball player this year so far.
Yeah, so far.
He's the highest paid baseball player this year. Bobby.
Yeah.
Guy's a fucking
So
genius.
our bracket will not be as bad as that contract.
The bracket's going to be awesome.
The bracket's going to be fine.
And that contract was actually a great contract.
For
everybody involved.
For Bobby.
Nice.
I wish I knew what you guys were talking about.
You don't know the Bobby Bonilla contract?
No. Who's Bobby Bonilla and what was his contract about?
Bobby Bonilla played for
Wait,
the
do I
Mets.
want to know? Is this what we're going to... All right, yeah, tell me about it.
Bobby Bonilla was a player for the Mets, and in order to avoid paying him a lot of money up front, they signed him to this really super long-term 30-year contract deal. And so every, is it June? What is it?
July 1st.
July 1st.
Every July 1st, the Mets owe him, do you know the number, Llama?
1.9 million.
$1.9 million until like
35.
Wow.
But it actually saved them money in the short term.
Yeah.
$1 million 30 years later isn't as worth as much.
Honestly, it's not the first type of contract like that. And there's a couple more that make more than Bobby Bonilla, but he played in New York, so it was a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a really smart way to get paid. I mean, look, I guarantee you MC Hammer wish he would have signed that kind of contract. He got his 30 million right up front, and that didn't work out so good.
Tyson, you guys had told me before the show that this was where we were going to start things off with. I totally would have nixed it and said, let's go in a different direction.
That's why we don't tell you.
That's why we don't tell you. It's improv. Here, you can have the
Oh, man. We do have a really crazy show today. We got some fun guests. I got to do this, right? That's the tradition.
Yeah,
ritual.
you got to do it.
We got Tim Wheaton coming on from Daddy Unscripted. It's a podcast on Osiris. I'm really excited to talk to him. He has some cool stories to share, and I'm looking forward to talking to him. We have Chip Parker from Mockingbird Foundation. We here are huge supporters and fans of the Mockingbird Foundation. He's a board member, so I'm looking forward to talking to him. And then we have Jake Beckman from the Phish Pheed. Also Save You a Click, and seems like a pretty cool dude. Fun stories, so lots to talk about. And before we get to all that, we have a special segment or discussion to have at the beginning of this episode. I'm going to start with the sharing a video.
Rock and
That's
roll,
right.
baby.
In case you have missed it, we are starting the next bracket, the Greatest American Rock Band bracket. And actually, before we get into the bracket, just watching that promo, I want to give Chad a quick shout out for the audio mix on that. In case you don't know, Chad's our audio engineer, and he put together the soundtrack for that, which then inspired the visuals for the video. That soundscape was kind of the genesis of it all.
I have to apologize. I should have used U.S. Blues by the Grateful Dead instead of Uncle John's band. I mean, U.S. Blues.
I was wondering about that when I was doing the video.
It was right there, and I
You could have said that it reminded you of the last song that they played before they officially ended the Grateful Dead.
That would have been Box of Rain. Oh, that.
No. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't.
It would remind you of the 50th anniversary show, and you just didn't feel like that.
No, U.S. Blues actually reminds me of the Last Dead show, the actual Last Dead show in '95. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, but I think you did a good job, and I love that promo.
Man.
I'm excited about this. I'm really fired up about this. I'm also a little nervous because internally we've been talking about it. I'm exhausted, right? Like, I'm not gonna lie, we've been talking about it for a couple days now, and we haven't even debuted it or revealed it yet, and I'm already kind of the melts are gonna be serious with this one. This is not
we're all internally melting already, and it's like we haven't even put it out to the public yet. I can't even imagine what this is gonna be like. There's so many decisions that people are just gonna lose their minds over.
I think just the planes alone, right? Like that and the band bracket, like to find out who they are, I think is going to cause melts.
I have a question real quick.
All right. And then we'll go back to Chad. I don't want to.
Why the hell did this bracket even come about?
It came about because of a bar discussion that I was having. I feel like I've explained this before, but like,
whenever we don't have reoccurring watchers, viewers.
No, we do. We have.
You did once. You're like, no, I'm done with this.
No, it came about because everybody would always have the same conversation about who's the best rock band of all time. It would always be British bands: Stones, Who, Zeppelin, Beatles. And so I started asking people what the greatest American rock band was. And it actually started because there was a random stranger in a bar who happened to own a record store. And so I asked him, I said, what's the greatest American rock band of all time? Figuring this guy would have an encyclopedic knowledge, and I stumped him. And we sat there for an hour and talked about it. And so that's kind of how the whole thing started.
And that was like what, 7 years?
Like about 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah. And then it came back because of Hank Azaria stole my idea and published it online. So.
Well, and actually, the first time you had ever reached out to me, was about that bracket, right? Because I had been doing the Phish brackets, and you were like, "Hey, I have this bracket set up."
Yeah,
and I loved it. And I honestly get pitched brackets, not humble brag, but like it happens fairly frequently. Like often people send me their brackets, and this was one that I really thought was well thought out and had potential. So that instantly turned me on to working with you on it.
Yeah. And then we weren't working together at the time. I saw what you were doing. I was like, hey man, if you ever want it, here it is. A bunch of my Facebook friends took it and ran with it. I'm trying to get when I bring back World's Greatest Chad show. Woohoo! Probably tomorrow. No promises. But
we have so much new stuff coming.
I know, man. I know.
We got the bracket, World's Greatest Chad show returning. The new site and blog will be launching sometime soon in the next couple of days. I mean, it's really exciting though. We got a lot of great content coming.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have as one of my first guests. I want to have on my buddy John, who he's like a doctorate in music. I don't know if he actually he's a post-grad in music, and he's a teacher. He's a professor of music, and he was one of the first guys that locked on to my bracket back in the day. And he has spent more time thinking about it than I think any of us have. And I really want to have him on to get his, because I don't know how his bracket turned out. So yeah. I have no idea.
So I'm thinking maybe we'll wait a little bit. Maybe when the guests come on to go through it.
Should we give him the first? Let's give him one tease. Let's give him.
Let's go through the play-ins. I'm gonna tweet. I'm actually going to kick it off here live. The first play-in matches, and then if you guys don't mind, I would actually like to go around the room and without a ton of explanation, just tell me your vote. What you think. I think
Okay.
Fam doesn't want to participate, which that's fine.
No, fam just bailed.
The chat is saying
Fam's like, this
Little
is
Feat
gumbo all
rules.
over again. Peace. All right.
All right.
Ready. First matchup, Counting Crows, Black Crows.
Sorry, guys.
That's easy. The Black Crows.
Is that a Black
Kev?
Crows shirt, fam?
I'm going.
It
God, that's just. I guess the Black Crows. That's an ugly thing for me because I'm not a fan of either.
Me too. I'm not a huge Black Crows fan, but
I can make an argument for both, because I do believe that both bands are actually credible and decent. Not, of course, to win the bracket, but that they might belong there.
That they deserve to be part of the conversation.
100%.
They're in the conversation for sure, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just the pun of it. Like the pun's part of it, but
one of them is getting in. So here's my argument for Black Crows. Again, you've got, I always look at like 3 album runs. You've got Shake Your Money Maker, Southern Harmony, and A Musical Companion, and and Amorica. Okay, incredible albums, huge hits on each album, multi-platinum albums. You've got an incredible band that, when they weren't wanting to kill each other, were incredible. Rich Robinson, Steve Gorman, Mark Ford, Crazy Eddie Harsh, who R.I.P. was an R.I.P. incredible keyboard player. Okay, so this is a band that kind of, when they were going, were pretty phenomenal.
Can I interrupt you for a second here?
Please. And I know, Llama, you're on my side, so let's hear it.
Chad, quick question. Did you ever get to see Eddie Hirsch play in Detroit just randomly when you were there?
Yeah, I feel like that name. Yeah, you know what? I wish you would have asked me this pre-production, because I could have thought about it a little bit more. No, because Eddie is a. I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't think of a specific moment off the top of my head. Like,
can I just say, by the way, well done, Matt. Like, that was one of the first times in 8 episodes of The Lot that I felt like, wow, we have some like.
Yeah, no,
when
when
like
I
the
saw
whole Osiris thing of like knowing what we're talking about and dropping information, that was impressive.
When I saw Matt looking down and realizing he was reading notes, I was like, "Oh my god, you prepared."
I just wanted to get it right, because, like I said, I am a big Black Crows fan. This is actually I caught this drumstick. Chris Robinson used to, back in the early '90s, had a Trey drum kit, just like remember Trey had the little drum kit. Chris Robinson also had a little solo drum kit. And he threw this out after the show, and I caught this. Yeah, so this is a Chris Robinson drumstick. Yeah, sure enough. But yeah, big Black Crows guy. Also, weirdly, a big Counting Crows guy. I truly enjoyed their catalog. Is it they also
how did they pass your 3-album run?
Okay, I will give you an example. Okay, first August and Everything After, which is a huge, like, their first album was massive, obviously. Then Recovering the Satellites, which had huge hits, also including Long December, all that stuff. Then Hard Candy came out right after, which really probably had their biggest hit, weirdly, which was the Big Yellow Taxi cover. The Joni Mitchell, They Pay Paradise, Put Up a Parking Lot. So they have a 3-album run.
You just
that's right there
explained
too.
why I voted for the Black Crows.
Fair. Listen,
he just explained why I voted for the Counting Crows. And yeah, you know what? And actually, Llama, I have met Eddie Harsh, and we have actually gigged together before.
Super sweet. That's nice.
Yeah, we were kind of.
I too wish you asked that in pre-production. Though.
But you know what?
That moment.
Honestly, like I had to like put together that like the keyboard and Detroit thing because it's been so long. But like, yeah, no, we ran in the same circles, man. Like, yeah, him and I could name a few other guys that you guys wouldn't know, but Chris Codish.
Oh yeah, man, flex. No, don't.
No, I mean,
so if you're interested, since we're on that first matchup, we got about 20 votes in so far. And the Black Crows are off to an early lead, 80-20, which isn't surprising.
I went with Counting Crows because 2 reasons. One, I met Duritz.
You voted already?
No. I'm going to. Duritz, I met him, had a couple beers, great guy, and Kevin almost punched him in the face. So that, like, I figured that was like 2 good reasons to vote for Counting Crows. So
Cool. Did I get everybody? Can I move on to the next one? Yeah.
Well, you didn't get went, but
Kev, I thought you answered.
I
went
said, I
Black
guess I have to go with the Black Crows simply for the reason that I almost did get in a fight with that guy at a bar in New Orleans at 11 in the morning. Well, all my buddy wanted was a picture with him, and I was drunk at 11 in the morning, which is my bad. But
at the height of Adam Duritz's powers, he dated Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox in succession. So I mean, to me, like the 90s,
He's the guy from the Counting Crows.
Yeah.
Adam Duritz, the guy from the Counting Crows. Yeah. So
he actually showed up and sat in with the Meters the next night after I had saw him in New Orleans, which was really the funky Meters, not the original Meters. But yeah, that was pretty cool.
This bracket is going to quickly reveal to people, I think, how little I know about non-Phish, non-jam band music.
Non-wook music?
I am super myopic. Like, I'm just like glazed over. You guys are talking. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. That sounds good. I have no idea.
Before
like,
you
wait,
got
when
into
did
Phish, who did you listen to?
Basically, before Phish, I did. I was like a heavy metal guy for a little bit, like Metallica and Raid. Like, not deep in like death metal or anything, but like, you know, classic heavy metal, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ozzy and Black Sabbath and stuff. And before that, I was grunge, like Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, but not very widespread at all. Like, right. I mean, admittedly, I only have a handful of bands I know anything about. I just happen to know a boatload about a couple and nothing about the rest. You want to see? Let's go into the second play matchup.
Do it.
I love these puns, by the way.
I can't comment on this one. Well, I can, but go ahead.
All right. So the second one is Kings of Leon versus Queens of the Stone Age, which is, I don't know, it's fun.
I'm going to have to go with chess, and a queen always trumps a king. So I don't know anything about either one of them. I can't say I've ever even heard either one of them. So
really?
Yeah, really.
Oh, Kat, you might be into Queens of the Stone Age. That feels like that might be up your alley a little bit.
Well, I'm going to have to find a video of them for some of the blog stuff, so I will at least hear that song, whichever one. Any suggestions for a song for the blog?
They get these pills to
regular
swallow.
John, maybe? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In your
no one knows.
No one knows is the intro to Queens.
So what about you three? Llama, who do you have in that matchup?
I'm gonna have to go Queens of the Stone Age just because Josh Homme has brought in so many ridiculous people and played with them in the desert sessions and brought the Queens of the Stone Age influence into artists. They just had the one where he was jamming with the bassist from Primus, Les Claypool.
You know all of that about Queens of the Stone Age, but you didn't know Les Claypool. See, this is different worlds, right?
I knew Les Claypool.
Primus is one of those bands that
but my brain's not working right now.
I'm going Queens of the Stone Age because I think that like Kings of Leon was a more reactive band and Queens of the Stone Age is a more proactive band. I felt like Queens of the Stone Age actually kind of redefined the genre a little bit. They did a really good job with playing with different tempos and meters and like bringing back like.
Can I ask maybe embarrassing question?
So what about time?
What genre is it?
Stoner rock.
Stoner rock is pretty accurate.
Okay.
It's what Blue Oyster Cult started in the 70s. They just expanded on it, I guess.
You just said you didn't know either of these bands.
But if it's Stoner Rock, I know Stoner Rock.
Oh, okay.
Well, obviously
you sounded so confident.
Hold on.
Matt,
Kevin,
what do you think? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's
Kevin,
okay.
Have you heard of the band Caius?
No.
Okay.
Matt, Kings of Leon or Queens of the Stone Age?
Short answer, long answer. But no.
Short answer.
Okay.
Medium answer is fine.
Can I give a short story, a stupid story about Kings of Leon?
I love it.
Kings of Leon, I always laugh at a little bit because they got shit on by birds in St. Louis. It was like a big thing, okay? So basically what happened was they're the Follow Will brothers, right? They're the Follow Will brothers. They're fucking they're kind of, again, they got that Morrison thing to me where they're trying to be a little too cool for school, you know? But so they're playing this venue in St. Louis. It's an outdoor indoor amphitheater, and these pigeons are just shitting all over them, right? So they tried to semi kind of play through it, and then eventually they're like, fuck it. And they didn't even play the show. They like canceled the show and
Because of
stopped
pigeon
playing
shit?
because of the pigeon shit. And I thought, fuck, these guys aren't rock and roll, man. These guys.
What are they doing in the bracket, man? They don't even belong there. Get
I
them out.
know that's a true story. Look it
Get 'em
up. But
out.
yes, I Kings of Leon, and yes, Queens of the Stone Age. You've got the Eagles of Death Metal, who Josh Homme also is connected with that, which they have some incredible history
Neighbors,
there. Obviously,
neighbors of mine, Eagles of Death Metal. They live right down the street.
Oh,
oh,
nice.
holy shit, that's crazy.
So,
but yeah, Josh Homme.
What was
or
the one
Homme.
he did with the bassist from Zeppelin? Crooked
John.
Vultures.
Broken Vultures, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just a phenomenal art.
I think you need to
guitarist.
do some bass player appreciation research. Seems to be the hole in your knowledge. You know so much about so many things, and then for some reason, bass players are just
you can't remember
elude
their
you.
name. John Paul Jones.
like.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Thanks.
they're like two of the most famous bass players of all
Right, Les
time.
Claypool and
I
John
can only
Guy
name
from the
like
Grateful
5
Dead.
bass players, and that's
And
you
those
just
are
named
2
2
of
of them.
That guy from the Grateful Dead, you know.
that guy.
Bill Lesh, Jack Bruce, and Mike Gordon are the other 3, and that's it. And like that's the extent of my bass players, and you missed 2 of them.
You
I
Okay.
know Fat Mike.
Okay.
That might.
So Twitter so far, we're up to 50 votes on that matchup now, and I think they agree with most of you. Queens of the Stone Age is off to a 66% lead, and then the
This is-
third, what?
I said, I think this one will show you the ages of the voters. I think.
Yeah, maybe a little more defined than 1.0, 3.0, because that's usually what I can determine from these brackets. But
Yeah.
this is going to be actually going to be very interesting to see who votes and how they vote.
Yeah.
The last matchup is a 4-way matchup, and
Ooh.
this might take the pun play a little bit far.
You can
And I
never-
know with Crows versus Crows and Kings versus Queens, you would have thought, hey, maybe we took it too far on the first 2.
And we promise the puns stop as soon as we get to the round of 64. Then it's just good matchups, but
Yeah, maybe not. Oh, it's
maybe
pretty
not.
good.
Yeah, I think we're not too pun heavy in the.
So this is a very fun for me. This is Train versus REO Speedwagon versus the Cars versus Jefferson Airplane. So we have a little transportation hub going. I just want to say this before it changes because it's hilarious to me. One band, so I'm going to ask you a different question rather than who you'd vote for. One of the 4 bands have 0 votes. There's 56 votes in. And the other 3 have decent representations. One band has 0. Who has 0 votes? No cheating.
Already cheated.
I know the answer. Train. If anybody's got the guts to vote for Train in a Phish bracket, like sort of related bracket, I don't know that there's a person that could do it.
Yeah.
Drops of Jupiter was a banger though.
I know.
Fuck no. What is no? I
Matt,
can't go there. But
Bam,
okay,
you're wrong.
Okay.
Drops of Jupiter slaps.
So does
Okay.
Meet Virginia.
There are 2 bands I
you,
really
Llama.
like. There are 2 out of those 4 that I really like.
Can you confirm, Tim, that it is Train that's got 0
It is
votes?
Train,
It
and Matt,
is
you are
Train. Of course
it is.
100% correct. Train is a terrible, terrible band, and if it were not for the pun, they'd have absolutely 0 business being in this bracket. The other
Yes.
3 I get.
Hey, they were
and
in the original 64 before I decided to bump them back. to
Chad,
the
we've already
play-in.
acknowledged that you did a terrible job with the
I-
initial seating.
Yes. we
But
did.
now you've confirmed. Oh, that's the ugly version.
Yeah. You guys are so
Um,
wrong.
no, I actually had to see Train. My best friend's wife is
I
a
couldn't wash my hair.
enormous Train fan, and they dragged us all to a Train show. And
Did
it was.
you know they started as a Led Zeppelin cover band?
They've done that recently too. They played Led Zeppelin recently. I heard.
So what's your
but-
problem?
I don't know. I did not enjoy it.
So
Wentz our like grumpy head, like our old grumpy head, who's just like, "Hey, kids, quiet down there."
I'll bring up a band we all love. Actually, I saw Train open for Ben Folds 5 when Meet Virginia first hit. They opened for Ben Folds 5. No lie.
So I brought Sam Jones to the party today. That's my baseball card for today. This card commemorates a no-hitter he threw on September 4th, 1923. This is Sad Sam Jones. He played for New York and Philadelphia. Well, look at his face.
Probably because he has to live in Philly.
What, he got paid?
Oh,
Boom.
ouch.
Llama was talking some trash about his card. I don't know who should go next, or we should kill it, probably is what Tim is thinking. But I
was trying to kill the Ben Folds conversation. That's all I was doing.
I have San Diego Chicken signed. I have a signed San Diego Chicken baseball card.
What does his signature look like? Is it just like a paw?
Oh no, he has
see it. It's on the screen.
He has wonderful penmanship.
Llama, you got to take off your visor, then you can see it.
This is wonderful.
It is lovely. How does he hold the marker with the feathers?
Well, listen, he's a professional, man. Have you ever seen the San Diego Chicken? I mean, this guy
have not.
Probably the greatest mascot of all time. There is no better mascot than the San Diego Chicken.
Whoa. Great.
Dude, he's undefeated.
Mr. Met?
Incorrect. The San Diego Chicken. Mr. Matt couldn't hold the San Diego Chicken's jock.
Wait. I was just about to say, I don't think anybody can top a signed autographed San Diego Chicken, but I think I just saw Went hold up a Robin Williams Mork from Orc card.
Mork.
And it says something on it.
What a show. What a great show, man.
Mindy, have you heard from Trash Gordon lately? I guess that was a line from the show.
I'm going to share the final looking bracket. I don't want to get into the matchups yet because we should have
we never got answers. We never got answers for the transportation battle royale.
Well, it's on Twitter, man. Check it out.
Train, Ario.
Please let
who
Train
are
get
we
0.
picking?
Leave Train at 0. That's my.
all right. Real quick. Kev, who do you want out of that?
I got to go with the airplane, even though I love the cars.
Oh, shit.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I'm with Jefferson Airplane too on that, but I think the cars is
I'm on the cars.
You know what? I would say airplane, but I'm going to take the cars just because I kind of look like Rick Ocasek.
What about you, Matt? If you say train, I swear to no, you already said that.
No,
I know.
No. Yeah, I would probably go airplane, although the cars are really tough. It's 50-50 there. And I wonder if Paulina Poroskova would agree, Chad, that you look like Rick Ocasek. I'm curious about that.
Chad, why don't you just dip out for a second and turn your camera?
I'm going to dip out for a second so I can remount this damn microphone.
Let's just all watch him.
The best
all right,
thing
do it live. This is exciting.
Do it live. I'll commentate it.
The best thing that REO Speedwagon ever did was name an album you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
Fair.
Oh, this is fun, guys. All right, well, how about this? Let's bring on our first guest. We have it's a funny way here of guests coming in right at the perfect time to save our asses when this show just falls apart. All right, Let's see if I can do this.
The chat hates Train as well.
The chat knows.
I have a dad bod. This guy has a dad pod. The host of Daddy Unscripted. It's wicked smart. Tim Wheaton.
Very nice.
Welcome, Tim. How are you doing?
How's it going?
Technology is defeating me today.
I'm glad I watched last week, so I knew to mute my YouTube before I joined.
Very nice.
No offense, Tom.
Yeah, Tom's mistake is.
I didn't want to. I knew the little bit that you guys razzed him. I knew I would be up for way more than that because I'm not Tom
got
Marshall.
that.
So yeah, I figured I would learn.
No one's safe on the
That's
lot,
a good point, though. You would think Tom does a lot of these interviews, and like he's pretty connected now, and totally made the YouTube error.
He's pretty connected now.
Yeah,
All right, shut up.
he's finally been connected.
It's awesome to see you face to face via this Zoom and have you on. I love, by the way, I just noticed this, that I love having podcast hosts on because their mics are awesome. The quality is just through the roof.
Yeah, I even put up, it was hard for me to do this, but I figured that I won't be talking directly into this because I hope you guys can hear me.
Oh my God.
Okay, because I'm not doing like,
it's hot. Putting the rest of us to shame, and I got a professional microphone.
Sounds great.
I even worked really hard on this, and I got them all up, and then I thought, oh frick, it's gonna be backwards. So I ran really quick and made the most important one the right direction. So if anybody watches this in the mirror,
I think the rest of them are forward, and now that
automatically
one is
flips for you. It adjusts for you.
Oh. Okay.
See my poster's right?
I'm looking at the Zoom. I guess. Okay. Now I see what you're saying. So in Zoom, this one looks right, but in YouTube, the other ones are all correct.
I've got one of those right up there too.
Yeah,
in my corner, right there as well. Yeah.
I took my lesson from you. I even got some baseball cards, Tim, because I know you really like.
It's never gonna go away. That's awesome.
I thought Tim hates baseball, and then I saw the tweet of announcing this again and thought it's like baseball. It says take another hit. It's a guy pitching and hitting. So I'm like, Tim has a inward battle that he's going through right now, a conflict. So I went really quickly through my box in my garage, and I've got my Jim Abbott.
Oh, good call.
Nice.
If any of you, for non-baseball fans, he did not have a right hand, and he was amazing to watch pitch. Fortunately, as a SoCal person, I got to see him in person quite a few times, but he was amazing.
He used to pitch and then put his glove on real quick.
Yeah,
right?
He would switch.
It was so
he
cool.
Would kind of switch. Yeah, incredible athlete, really cool. I actually was looking for. I went through my cards and I was like, I hope I find a Jim Abbott. That is so awesome. That is crazy.
I have a few. So if you want one, I'll happily send you one. I also unearthed the Deion Sanders card.
Oh,
Neon Dion.
Well, I'll trade my Kurt Rambis.
Oh gosh.
Over your Jim Abbott if you did.
Yep.
This went from just being a baseball card bit to like a Tradio baseball card bit.
And then I've got my two Red Sox rookies that were on came up through different teams. Obviously, my Pedro and my Manny rookies.
Manny. Look at young Manny. Look at young Manny there, man. He's just
so
full of life.
thin.
Look at him.
Oh, I didn't. So I was watching before, and I came across so many Bobby Bonilla cards. I didn't realize, unfortunately, that tomorrow was his day. I would have pulled those out. And also, like all of the old Barry Bonds skinny cards. And then I just kept running into like Mark McGuire and all these guys like pre-bulk. Yeah. It was pretty interesting.
Manny is my favorite player that never played for a team of mine. You know what I'm saying? Like Manny is definitely like, I loved, there's something about Manny that I was just like, man, love that dude.
He was fun to watch.
You think there should be an asterisk next to McGuire's name and Sosa's name?
I mean, now, like you're going to asterisk entire seasons of however many players, you've got like pitchers and hitters that you're doing that to. So I don't know. I used to be very like, those guys can never be in the Hall of Fame and all of that. But I mean, it's just going to be kind of an understood thing, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a fair take. Like, as long as everybody's eyes are wide open, of what the situation was and the era that it was, I think that's fair. And they know, and everybody knows, like you go all the way back to 8 Men Out, you go all the way back, that baseball is literally made for cheating and has had cheaters. It's whole, like that has been part of the game since it was created.
Since Shoeless Joe Jackson and
I was thinking just last night, like, it's a bummer that all of this has gone on before this little 60-game season because all of the hatred for the Astros is gone. So they're going to skate free without getting their due penance.
A full season of getting just booed
Oh,
mercilessly.
nice.
They're only gonna get Joe Jackson. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, but no, they deserve every boo they'll get. But yeah, they're getting spared, no doubt. That's a great point.
How do you feel about?
Look,
How do
hold
you,
on, wait. I just have to say poor Wook for a second. He wants to get off of
baseball. Sports.
He wants to get off.
Sorry,
of
Tim.
Like
No,
all
I love.
so bad.
I love that you came in and had seen the show and were participating. I'm a little bit like, all right, Wook guys, like we don't need to keep the baseball combo going for the entire 30-minute segment. Like
I can move it to hockey if you guys want to talk hockey. I can move on.
But normally I would, and I think we'll definitely have to have you back on for our sports show that we're going to introduce at some point.
Happily.
Well, we have so much to talk about tonight.
I'm here.
No, I really I want to, first of all, I want to get your take, and I don't know if you're prepared for this. I didn't really put you on or give you a heads up of putting you on the spot, but I kind of want to get your take on these play-in matches.
Yep.
That we were just talking about. And
I already put my votes in.
All right,
I'm ready.
Awesome. Do you want to share?
I am part of the reason there are still no votes for Train.
It's funny because I just checked, and the official first melt once poll started was about Train. Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, for them even being involved.
It's accurate. We know
be
our
good that makes it like the college bracket though, because there are always those teams that everybody is so upset that didn't get included in the bracket, and they're like, you included this team somehow, what about this? So maybe there will be some people.
A lot of that with this. I mean, internally, we've in the green room before the show, we were talking about it, and there's like 10 bands still the day we launched it that came up that were like, we wish we could have fit them in, but
it's gonna happen.
Here's the one thing about Train that I'm gonna say, and the reason I included them in the original 64 was because when I looked them up, they have a lot of hits. Like it's more than you think. They have a lot. They're like their albums were like charting number 1, number 2. Like.
So does Creed and Nickelback, though.
Well, yeah, no,
there's no accounting. There's no accounting for people's taste, Chad. I mean, we can't.
No, I know, and that's
look at our president. We have a president. Then, I mean,
dude, I included Poison in this bracket. You think it's about taste?
Fair.
Who is Poison against?
Oh, go ahead, Tim.
Actually, if you don't mind, do you want to maybe take a look? We haven't.
Revealed
it yet?
I saw the play-ins, so I'm ready to go.
Well, all right. Let's.
Okay, you want to go back to the play-ins?
The actual bracket.
Oh boy.
Black Crows, Counting Crows.
I went Black Crows. I'm actually an old school Counting Crows fan. I worked at Tower Records from 1990 to like 95 or so. And
I feel like that's the perfect job to work for the first 5 years of the 90s.
Yes.
Right? Like if I was writing like a crappy sitcom where I was like, we're in the early 90s. I got to think of a job for this character. We're going to work at Tower Records.
It's Empire Records and High Fidelity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, late on in my time there, I wrote a screenplay that I was trying to get. I finished it and everything, but there was like my friends up in Hollywood were like, you got to change this one thing. And I just couldn't give it up. But was about working at Tower and people there, and there was a big heist. It was called 5 to 1 after the Great Doors song. I mean, I feel like you guys are going to help me get the backing that I need on this.
I
YouTube.
feel like
absolutely. I was just about to say, I got some people I can sell this to. I'm already in.
Yeah,
I'm all in. A heist at Tower Records.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in.
It was kind of interesting.
Now it's a period piece. That's the cool thing about it.
Right now it's cool. But I really liked the Counting Crows, and they had a very small show that they did. I can't even remember. It was at a place in Hollywood before Recovering the Satellites came out. That was for a bunch of people in the record company and like Adam's friends of the band and Adam's friends. And I can't remember who he was dating at the time. Like who was saying
Probably
that? Chad, were you
hot.
talking about his girlfriends?
That was Matt. That was
Oh,
Matt.
Matt was, yeah.
Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, some famous celebrity.
Were they back to back? Like, was that close
I think
proximity?
those were pretty much back to back, but
As
he
far
was
as you
the John
know, I
Mayer
mean,
of that time.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh,
Except he didn't get in trouble in Rolling Stone or whatever John Mayer ended up doing back then. But so anyways, I went to this tiny little show, and there were only we had a Ticketmaster at Tower, and I think myself and one other person got 2 tickets, and that was it because it was so limited. And I gotta close my window, I just learned. But I got
professional right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I got some sweet pictures of it and everything, and hooked up with a guy who recorded it, and they were stripping people's film that were taking pictures during the show. Like, security was going around, and this is back in that day, they were stripping film out of cameras, and for whatever reason he didn't mess with mine, and I was the only person who had photos from this super intimate concert. So
that explains why he did not want my friend taking a picture.
Oh, was your friend there taking pictures?
No, I almost got a fight with him in New Orleans
yeah.
years, and it was because of a picture. He wanted to take a picture of him. So apparently he doesn't like having pictures taken. He being the lead singer, whatever the guy's name is.
Well,
there's actually a lot of guys like that.
Next time, instead of bringing baseball cards, why don't you show us your pictures of Adam Duritz, man? Come on.
I'll bring some. I was gonna, because I used to do a lot of I don't really do it much anymore, but I used to do it a lot with Humphreys, and I was hooked up with Dave Matthews Band for 2 of their caravan tours that they did when they did 4 different caravan shows, and that was kind of cool because I got to shoot 20 bands. I was just running around and being a wannabe Jeff Kravitz, basically. Shout out Jeff Kravitz.
Yep.
Thanks. Do you do that semi-professional shooting, or is it completely amateur for fun?
Danny Glitch style?
I was doing it for the bands. I kind of got my big cool. In was with Modest Yahoo, actually, because he was trying to get somebody new in his photography group or whatever, and I ended up winning the ability to do that. And then after that was kind of the build of my portfolio. And then after Caravan, I was able to kind of show that off and be able to get to shoot stuff. I just really liked shooting bands that I liked and didn't really want to, go and shoot a Taylor Swift concert or anything like that. But, so I've
not a fan
done
of
a lot of Humphrey shows. No, unfortunately.
We're getting the hate mail now. Oh no.
Oh, are people?
The record.
A lot of
Tay-Tay is
Swifties, a
amazing.
lot of Phish fans. They overlap a lot.
So
it could be worse.
I noticed because not religiously, but I listen to your podcast fairly frequently because I'm a new father, and I noticed your theme is Humphreys, right?
Yeah.
And I was wondering, are you an Humphreys fan first? I hate to say it, but how there's people that are Humphreys fans that like Phish, and then there's Phish fans that like Humphreys, and everybody has their band they identify with. I was curious if you identify more as a Phish fan, a Deadhead, or an Humphreys fan, or how you see yourself.
I kind of see myself as all of it, I guess. I mean, the Dead was my jam when I was in my senior year of high school. Somebody turned me on to the Dead, and after my dad died in 90, I just kind of threw myself into Dead Tour and was working at Tower, and my checks were going to shows. And unfortunately, I have no pictures of myself from that era, which is really sad. But I was going to all West Coast shows through 90 to 92. And then, I kind of tapered off and whatever. I was very sad about Jerry's kind of demise and couldn't really take it as much. But somebody brought me at Tower when we would get our promos, somebody brought me the Hoist CD when it came out before it was released, and said, you got to listen to Phish. And I hadn't listened to them at all. And it was during a time when I was only listening to the Dead. Like that was it. You could not get me to listen to any other band. I was it was tapping into my OCD to collect tapes, and I was a little ridiculous. And
you're not alone, by the way.
Yeah, that's very good part.
That's a pretty good
Yeah.
You're not
story.
alone in this room. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And I just could not even get into Hoist. I was like, yeah, not going to do it. And so I did not jump on, which is one of those like side roads of my life in a parallel universe. I loved that CD and I got right on Phish tour. But that didn't happen. And then I didn't go to my first Phish show until 99. So then they took their first hiatus. I waited and waited. And then my next kind of really first show was the Valentine's Day show in LA with the infamous guy who ran on stage, I think first song, and yelled, "Happy Valentine's Day, Missy, I love you," which is funny because that's my wife's name. And we were not dating at that time. It was not me.
I was just going to say, tell us.
Right.
It was definitely you.
Tim,
That was the cover of the Rolling Stone, right? That was right after they
Yep.
came out. They covered
Yeah.
cover of the Rolling Stone.
Yeah,
in that show.
yeah.
Tim, can I ask you, this is kind of a weird off-track question, but like you said you didn't get into Hoist the first time you listened to it.
Yeah.
Why? Like, what was it about it that you didn't like? Like, I'm curious because you're a fan now.
Yeah.
Obviously. What was it that you were like, no, I'm not doing
Honestly, it was my very narrow-minded thinking of this isn't the Dead. It's not the
Okay.
Grateful Dead, and that's all I'm listening to. And I appreciate you for trying to get me to listen to something else, but all I'm listening to right now is the Grateful Dead. Period. It was
Huh.
it
And
was
Hoist
just
is very much
dumb.
not the Grateful Dead.
No, it's
yeah,
yeah.
Hoist is not the
Right.
album. If it was
That's
something
not the
else, I
album.
may have.
That's not the
Yeah.
transition album.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So-
Wow.
And then Umphreys, I started listening to in probably 2000, and didn't see my first show, I think, until maybe 2002. But I was loving them all that time and loving Phish, and I just kind of wrap it up into my if I want a little bit heavier, then I listen to Umphreys that day. If I want to just kind of listen to amazing music, then I put on Phish. And if I want neither, then I put on Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. Dude, my first Humphreys show, remind me the keyboard player's name again. You probably know off the top.
Joel Cummins.
Joel. So my first Humphreys show was Lollapalooza, and I was performing there with Second City. So I had an artist wristband. So I got to hang out in the rafters backstage, and I'm a keyboard player. And so I was looking right over Joel while he was playing his set.
Nice.
Oh my God, man. I was like, I was fanboying so hard. I'm like, this is really cool to like watch from that angle.
Technically speaking, I think they're probably the most talented jam band or band in our scene. Right,
They
like
really
execution wise, I personally have never seen a band tighter and execute more perfectly
consistently
than Humphreys. They're not my personal favorite. Like I enjoy them. Like obviously I don't have a Humphreys channel, right? Like Phish is my hallmark, but I have out of all of the bands in the scene and that I listen to, I think Humphreys is probably the most technically, as far as execution wise goes.
Yeah.
If you like that kind of
Jake
stuff,
alone.
go watch Alt J.
Okay.
Alt J, yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you on that.
All right.
Speaking of pictures though, because you were gracious to send me a bunch of pictures and
Oh,
we have
yeah.
yet to do this, but
it was slideshow.
this is the slideshow and
Yeah.
I'm really
Yes!
excited about
I'm
this.
so excited for this.
I figured I'll just share my screen, go through some of these pictures, and you can maybe tell us about this night
Yeah, I'll
and,
tell you a little
and
bit.
what's
Can I-
going on.
Can I score it?
Sure. Just don't be
This-
too loud. Don't be too
So
hot.
this
Well,
is
tell me if it's too loud.
this is my brother and I were at the run at the Greek of tonight's Dinner and a Movie, which is fantastic timing. This I think is like first night maybe. This show, this is, I figured this is appropriate for the lot. These are people in the quote unquote lot. This is second night. People were getting all togaed up. This is me. As you can see, I have an actual Phish tattoo. I do not have an Humphreys tattoo, if that tells you anything.
That is a badass tattoo, by the
Nice,
way.
nice. And you can see my brother too. We're getting all togaed up. I think I included some other people in their togas. These girls, which I sent you a thing about, Tim, these girls are actually part of a trio couple. What do you call that? A throuple?
A trouble, yeah.
That was on a Showtime show called Polyamory, which they were on much beyond this time. It was years later, but they were super fun. They were in line. This is some band that was playing on the side. Is that a band if it's two guys? Band of two?
That is definitely a frat boy ensemble.
Yeah. So I was just including some lot photos. This is some people dressed up. I think I had one picture of some cops messing with people. I did not include that. And the slideshow. There's some more people getting togaed up for the show. It was really fun that second night, which I think was the night that they played Cities. And
so wait, is tonight the first night or the second night?
Tonight is the third night.
Third night, okay.
I was a little surprised. Night. Yeah, I was a little shocked that they picked this night, even though I listened to the show yesterday while at work, and I was like, okay, I understand. This is a great show. But that Cities and that Berkeley jam that went on night 2, that was just a mind-blowing set.
Yeah.
So here's, more toga people.
Amazing.
This seems very organized. Like,
it was really interesting. I think and so this is 2000. Like, you're not seeing stuff on Twitter or anything like that. I can't remember how we found out, but there was something somewhere talking about people dressing up in togas. Big, very warm costume for the night for that guy. I don't think that these people paid cash or trade for their sign or vice versa. But there's a little free advertisement for cashortrade.com.
And then you're in the venue.
In the venue.
That is a great shot.
That's night 2 because we've got our togas on.
Are shows ever gonna be like this again? I'm sorry, like I didn't want to go into that, but I get this like nostalgia for that. I miss being at shows.
COVID talk, drink.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. That was part of why I included some of those full shots of the audience, like thinking about how do we get back there to that place?
Yeah, what I mean, some point, right? I think, but not in the near future. But those photos are great, though. I didn't even realize it the first time I looked through them, but I can see the professional photography, your eye in those pictures. But that looks like it was a great show, a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a really cool weekend. If anybody ever gets a chance to go to that venue, it's a monumental venue. I mean, it's in a great town and area as well. So
this is the steep lawn venue, right? That West Coast guys were talking about last week.
Yes, Travis. Yes, Travis isn't here. He actually went to those shows as well, sadly. But I went and saw. I'll throw out a name so I can get some real love here. But I saw Widespread Panic there, and woo in 2005 with a buddy. And
would you believe, by the way, that Widespread Panic didn't make the Greatest American Rock Band bracket? Is it? God, Chad, what were you thinking?
I don't.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Tim
did the Radiators.
Tim had nothing to do with keeping Panic off, I'm sure, in any way. And the Greek is like, to me, if you go outdoor venues, at least the ones that I've been to, and I've been to a few, I feel like, not to flex by any means, and I've in this crowd and with the rest of the
it's all right, man.
Comparatively.
Flex away.
To me, it's Red Rocks, the Gorge, and the Greek. Those are like the 3 venues as far as like outdoor, scenic, beautiful venues that you need to go to experience. The Greek is just an incredible venue.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
It's funny. Those are like the top 3 venues of my bucket list. And when you were saying that, I'm thinking about how East Coast, right? Like a lot of West Coast guys complain that they don't fish, and a lot of these bands don't go out west that often. And I agree. Like we do get a lot more shows, quantity, but 3 of the top 5 venues I think are West Coast venues. Like where you lose in quantity, I think you make up in quality in a lot of ways, at least venue wise. And shows. I mean, a lot of the West Coast shows are some of the best shows.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're just saying that.
You know.
You have
No,
very
but
nice-
You don't
would love to go to
believe
those
you don't
venues.
believe
I haven't
that
been
for a
out there.
second. Yeah, you don't. Believe
It's
that
not
for a
quite
second.
enough, Tim, sadly, because I think all of us quantity wise, we would take like a baker's dozen, over like, we just don't get those, we get those one-offs and those things in the Midwest and the West, instead of getting those like big, long, awesome.
We got
runs.
that.
Yeah,
Ruby
you don't get the
Ridge.
residencies per se.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we get Alpine Valley. I mean, we get 3-night runs. I mean, the Greek was 3 nights, but still, when you're talking about, like, and driving across California, if you want to go down to like Tula, or you want to go down to like, that's like 8 hours. You can't just, people that are going to the show.
Midwest has a even worse though, because at least in like LA is
Thank
not
you.
so far from Vegas, right? So you have the Halloween run usually. You have, the Forum, the Greek. Like there's usually a couple of shows you get in Southern California and the Southwest, but the Midwest, I think you only usually get 1 a year, maybe 1 or 2. Hey,
Agreed. Thank you.
we're gonna keep this rolling. I got that for you, buddy. Tim, you're welcome to hang out. I hope you do.
I'm going to hang out until my family gets home.
Awesome. We're gonna bring in our next guest, and I'm gonna try not to mess any of this up. You'd think by 8 episodes in I'd have this down, but I get nervous every time.
No.
Nope. Let's see. Boom.
Residing in New York, this public relations and surfing enthusiast is also on the board of directors for the Mockingbird Foundation. It's Chip Parker.
Hey, Chip. Oh, Chip, you're on mute. Oh, we lost Chip.
Worse than what Tom did.
There you go. How's it
Oh,
going?
Tom.
Awesome, guys. I'm glad to be here. How you doing, Tim?
Good to see you, Chip.
Yeah, good stuff. So
Gotta
you
keep-
guys you're rubbing my face in the whole Bobby Bonilla thing. I'm a Mets fan, and as if that isn't painful enough to go through a life as a Mets fan. At least I was alive when they won, but I can't remember it.
In
My
86.
heart broke in 2015 as well.
Oh, it was painful.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
Llama's a Mets fan. Although in 2015, I am a Royals. I'm a KC guy. So sorry, Mets fans.
I don't want to keep on the baseball thing all night, but I will admit that the reason I'm not a huge baseball fan is because for most of my life I was a Mets fan. And
That would do
as
it.
a fellow Mets fan, I think you can appreciate and understand why I kind of fell off that that wagon. I was like, all right, baseball's not my sport, I guess.
Yeah, it's an event. I'm not I don't follow day to day. I did fantasy baseball one summer, and trying to keep up with the pitchers was insane. Like,
Dude, fantasy baseball is
Just trying to
intense.
keep up with it all summer is insane.
Yeah, it's 100 and how many games did you guys do? 180?
162.
not this year. It's gonna be like
162.
60 this year, right?
Yeah,
No.
60 this year.
But
I
for
love
your
that we turned
fantasy
this into a baseball show.
for your fantasy. How many?
There's
games
nothing
did
more
you play?
American than baseball. So yeah.
Baseball, the fantasy. I don't remember how many games they did. It was a long season, but we had to change every day. It wasn't like you set it and forget.
Okay, so it was every day that you had to get in there, right?
It's
Instead of once a
massive.
week, right?
Yep. These
Yeah,
guys
it's
get injured
intense.
for anything. They walk the dog and they pull a hand.
Oh, my arm.
They get foot and
It's
mouth
because they have a
disease.
good union. They have a good union.
Yeah.
Man, I love this. I can't even complain. I mean, this is awesome. It gets the guest engagement. Baseball. Who knew baseball was the key?
Baseball's all American. It's apple.
You want
pie
to
and-
engage a guest, you talk baseball.
Well, we've been all hurting for
What?
sports for a long time. There's been
Yeah.
nothing on. I
mean,
myself
is
the best
baseball
weekend.
going to happen now? I mean, everybody keeps talking about the season starting, but I'm
I
in
think
Philly
they
right
canceled
now.
the minor league for sure.
Philly's had like 4 players test positive a couple days ago.
And guys are now dropping out and saying they don't want to play.
Yeah, in the NBA, that's been the big thing. And MLB, some Nats did it.
Yeah.
But you find yourself when there's no sports, you find yourself watching like
The greatest American rock band bracket.
Yeah, well, I'm
Boom.
Tune in to Weekend Wook on Twitter to vote and Wook Plus for all your bracket coverage.
I'm pumped. So did you guys post it yet? Is the bracket up? Can we check it?
Actually, we were going to before with Tim, but then we got,
Right.
we went on
Let's
a
look
stroll
at
down
it.
memory
Come on.
lane, but
I've been geeking
There's
out
some
about
great
it.
matches. Some great
the
matches
playing
in there.
matches are up. But what I would love to do, if you're down, is I would actually like to pull up the actual
it.
bracket for the first time, and we could just pick some random matchups and talk about them.
Do it.
We're gonna make this up as we go. I mean, this is a highly professional.
What else
show
is
here.
new?
We should talk about the Detroit matchup.
So can you guys see that?
When you zoom in,
yeah.
we can. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna go into this top corner here.
Oh,
Sorry, this is actually like the PDF editor. So you're seeing like a little bit of how the sausage is made, right? But all right. So we have right here. First matchup here. Aerosmith versus Run DMC. I think that's an interesting matchup.
Okay, you
Aerosmith?
realize the joke,
that joke
behind
falls
that.
flat.
Yes.
Yeah,
Vote this
okay.
way.
Thank you.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, this is one. All right. I guess I should ask what, you guys, but for me personally, this is one I'm very interested to see how it goes. I think Metallica obviously is a higher, more reputable band, but I'm such a huge Rage fan. And lately, with all of the social angst and social movements and Tom Morello being so outspoken via social media and everything, I think that they might surprise some people and have a little more of a representation than people expect.
That wouldn't surprise me at all if Rage won that bracket.
Well, and Lars, like, they're literally the opposite in some ways, right? Because Lars shut down Napster. Remember that whole Metallica Napster thing? So, like, they really have no street cred in any way, whereas Rage has, like, all the street cred. You know what I mean? Like, they're like,
reputation and cred. If that was what the bracket was about, I think Rage takes it in a landslide.
Yeah.
But musically, Metallica is Metallica. I mean,
Metallica hasn't put out a good album since Master of Puppets.
Whoa!
Wow.
Hot fire coming
take.
from that. Hot fire coming from that corner over there.
That doesn't include the self-titled, does it?
No,
Black
it does
Album?
not.
the Black Album.
Yeah, no, they just got too big for their britches after that.
Black Album was great. Ride
The
Lightning,
Black
well, that
Album
was
was
before,
good.
but that was great too.
Enter Sandman.
Black Album they stole from Spinal Tap. I still am mad about that. Sorry, that's an old person reference.
No, we get it.
I didn't get it.
How about
I know the other
MC5
old-
Stooges, Tim?
the other
That's
old
a good
people.
one. The
Ooh,
MC5
MC5s
Stooges.
and the Stooges. Who's punk fans?
The
I gotta
Battle
go
of
Stooges.
Detroit.
It's
I gotta
funny
go
because
Stooges.
I think the bottom left corner of the bracket is way more difficult than the top right corner. And we'll get over to the top right. But I think this is going to be the Ramon Slayer, MC5 Stooges little sub section down here. I think is going to be a tough one to
I
figure
can't
out.
see the Ramones not coming out of that one.
Yeah, the Ramones are gonna win.
Yeah, I
It's,
agree.
I mean, good competition, but I think they're just ahead above.
All right, well, here, I'm going to skip up to the top right, though, and I think this is one of the weaker, I mean, we shouldn't say that, right? Like, we're all excited about this, but I think out of this whole thing here with Flaming Lips, ZZ Top, REM, The Misfits, The Roots, Heart, and then the play in here.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
We should have a contest to see exactly what the percentage Modest Mouse gets in that matchup against the Grateful Dead.
That's not a question.
I know what the answer is. Do you want me to give you the over-under, and we'll take on the over-under?
Yes.
Sure.
All right,
I'm
the
going
over-under is
95.
Modest Mouse will
Modest
get
Mouse not going to get
95%.
95. They're going to get 5.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
No, I was going to put the over-under at 6%. So
Okay, let's ask Chip and let's ask Tim. Okay, like, where are you? Because to me, at least with this, looking at this bracket, and I know Kevin disagrees with me because he's going to go Van Halen's on the other side. I see REM versus Phish, and this was really hard, actually. Okay, and I'm a monster Phish fan, but it eventually breaks down to REM versus Phish with me. Obviously, I'm a monster Phish fan, but then REM too. Like that was actually very tough. So to call this like a weak side, when you get into that decision, I think that's very difficult if you take it from a perspective of I'm not a massive Phish fan. Look at REM. What do you think, Chip? Are you where would you go there?
Yeah, I think the sample, right? Our audience, it's tough that Phish isn't going to come out a lot of those ones. But I've been thinking about this all week since you guys started talking about it and looking at different bands, not knowing what was going to be in there, but thinking and seeing my own biases, seeing how the impact Nirvana had on my life puts them over acts like The Doors that when I try and be impartial, I say The Doors were a greater American rock band. But and I'm probably going to get skewered for this, but I probably would pick REM over Phish because I'm not picking the best band because I know who I'd pick for that, but I'm picking the greatest American rock band. And that's what
that's the kind of stuff I love. That's why we're doing this.
Boom. What do you think, Tim? That's a tough answer to follow, but
I mean, he pretty much just, threw down pretty hard right there, but I mean, this is going to be it's going to be so interesting for different people, like not only what they enjoy, but you're talking about for me, if I'm looking at this, I'm thinking about bands that potentially were the soundtrack to my life or had some kind of, very sentimental meaning, whether it's, if you're dipping into these older bands, like Steely Dan, who you're showing right now.
I was just thinking that with the bands up here too. I mean, I'm maybe a little bit younger, but
Tom chose Steely
Pearl
Dan.
Jam and Soundgarden were two extremely influential and important bands in my life. And maybe it's easier for other people, but I guess for me, this is a very, very hard decision.
I'm already getting texts that I'm going to be skewered for that REM decision.
Oh boy. Let it begin.
I'm proud of you, Chip. I'm so proud of you for being honest. And that this is that can be tough to say that. And I eventually went Phish because I think I have been jam shamed and it's hard, right? To go. No, I'm joking. But like, but like REM, I think if you really went objectively, REM should win that setup. I mean, I'm on a Phish show, so this is hard, Dude, and look at behind me. I mean, I love Phish, but
that bottom area right there, there's two, Jane's Addiction versus Foo Fighters. Really intrigued by that. And then the Pixies versus Weezer.
I think Weezer wins that on name recognition alone and the fact that everybody loves the Blue Album.
Maybe. I mean, I think a generational thing is going to really show its face in this.
Yeah.
Seeing, what the average age of the people voting. Yeah. What about this one? I didn't even think about that, but Lynyrd Skynyrd versus Guns N' Roses, that's a tough Americano.
Lynyrd Skynyrd does not belong one there at all.
I think GNR, I mean, it's just badass American rock and roll at its core, And that's the same way with like Nirvana. The way I felt about it is you just have that anti-hero, that defined a generation. It's tough to beat.
GNR, I will say, when I announced the bracket before we said who was going to be on it, was one of the bands that was mentioned or referenced the most, right? Because everybody, how people like chime in right away. Oh, I hope so-and-so's on it or so-and-so's going to win it. And like we had our one season, like the bands that I was thinking, and Guns N' Roses was right outside of that top 4 or 8 for me. But they were mentioned quite a bit, I think.
Yeah, that was the reason Aerosmith got a 1 seed in the bracket, because that was the number 1 answer I got when I would ask people that question. Like they would say Aerosmith.
Can you guys talk about the logic or lack thereof of eliminating the people with pronoun and for the band? Like some of the ones that you left out. I found that to be really interesting.
Wook, that's a good segue.
Thank you. So actually what we're doing is originally they were left out because it was just so many of them and it was kind of complicated. But we decided when we were hashing this out to actually have a play-in bracket of 6 bands that the winner of it here, I'm going to share my screen again because I want to show where they're going to come in. The winner of the band bracket, play-in bracket, is going to come into this TBD spot here against the Beastie Boys. And that is, you guys are going to have to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to do this off memory, but that is Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen, Dave Matthews Band, Huey Lewis, Hootie,
Bob Seger.
and Bob Seger.
That's a solid group.
Jeez, yeah.
I know it's tough.
That
man.
in itself as a playing bracket
but
is
Chip,
insane.
Chip,
Any
to
group
answer
with
your-
Hootie and the Blowfish is not solid.
Okay.
You know that?
stop
Do you know that was my first concert I ever went to? Jones Beach, Hootie and the Blowfish. I'm shockingly
Oh,
ashamed
boy.
to say that.
Oh, awesome. I saw
No,
Hootie, man. They put on a hell of a show.
It was
They do
good.
put on a hell of a show.
Darius Rucker and the Blowfish, man. Great.
Better than Train.
Most
than
people's
Train.
Way
first
better than Train.
most people's first concert shame comes from other people.
Yep.
Like
that's what
who
it was.
took you to your first show, or why did your parents not let you go and see Kiss or
Exactly.
whatever?
Duran
friend's
Duran, my cousin.
Nice.
My first show was Aerosmith, and my mother dropped me and my buddy off and then sat outside in the parking lot until the concert was over to drive us back home.
That is
Aw, that's sweet.
My first concert was DC Talk.
Oh yeah.
Wowzers.
That's amazing.
You would definitely guess that looking at Llama, right? You're like, that's the guy that went and saw DC Talk
Yeah.
first, for sure.
Mine
But yeah,
was
no, I'm really
Elvis
excited
Costello
about
was my first one.
Oh,
the nice. That's a
Wow.
that's a great first show,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not bad.
Mine was Michael Jackson Bad Tour, so it's kind
Oh,
of a
geez.
it's a mixed bag on that one, but Jesus, yeah, as far as like production value and like wowzers, stuff.
Musically is pretty phenomenal too,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
I
my
mean, if you
God.
could look past everything else.
even just to
Correct.
check that box. You know?
What was your
Right, I
what was
remember-
your second concert? I'm curious, like after you go and see that and you see something else, you're
How
like,
do you
wait,
follow it up?
No,
what are
I saw
concerts
it.
like?
no, I got a guy who can nail it. Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond was next
Oh,
for me,
nice.
who's easily as good as Mike or better, you know, in my mind. Like, but
His
I-
dance.
Are you some sort of bougie concert attender?
yes, Llama. I'm
Did he
not
do it-
The exact
1000%
opposite.
sure
My
what that
second
means.
show was the Allman Brothers, and
Mm.
that was, you're right. The first show is embarrassing. The second show is the one that like sets you on your course. So,
Yep. Mine was REM.
Nice.
and then
Nice.
once from there on, right, you can make an excuse for your first show, but the second one it changes everything, right?
Mine was Damage Plan.
Mine, Motley
I don't
Crue.
know anything Llama says. I'm so sorry, and if you guys know these bands, I
No,
apologize.
Not at
But
all. I don't know.
every time
I
he
knew
says
DC
a band
Talk.
name or a song,
He
I'm
went,
just like,
he went
sorry.
from a religious band to a satanic band pretty
No,
fastly.
well-
and, no, they weren't satanic.
After
They weren't
Pantera
satanic. but-
broke up, that was Dimebag Darrell's band.
It was time.
okay.
Yeah.
Listen,
And
if
it-
you actually, Tim,
he
if
was
you knew
fine,
DC
but
Talk
sure,
and
yeah.
you knew Damage Plan, you would know that would explain a lot about Llama, honestly, in a lot of ways. Like that was his first two concerts. There's no one in the world that's their first two concerts.
My second was ACDC
Nice.
Oh, nice.
on the Flick of the
That's cool.
Switch tour.
Wow. Good
No,
one.
Llama, I mean it in a good way, dude. Don't mean me like I'm putting it down. That's incredible to go from like a very religious
I think-
based, to then
I
go
think
to
you'll be
Dimebag Darrell.
surprised though, because like when I was growing up, like those church music camps or whatever were like super big, like 50,000 people.
Were they like
Is
band
it-
camp?
Oh yeah, the festivals they did too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me that like their first concert was like a Christian rock concert, and then their second
true.
one was whatever they liked.
My
you know?
first
Great
show
point,
was
great
a
point,
Christian
Llama.
rock festival that I did with like the youth group or whatever, and I couldn't tell you a band because I don't remember who headlined, but it was like,
Right.
go sleep in a tent and make out with the girl in the
Right.
youth group, and listen to Christian rock. Like that was what it was.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm not sure that was their intention, Tim, at all. Actually,
No, it was. Well, they used to. My wife just walked down, but they used to like assign you duties, right? Like you could like volunteer for the festivals, and like we would be like, oh, we're gonna guard the water tank, or carry food over to the mess hall for these things with the youth group. But then like all the kids just went. Honestly, I felt like everybody just went off and like made out and stuff and didn't do their jobs, but.
Nobody was
Anyway, I
watching the water
digress.
tank. Nobody was guarding the water tank at that point, huh?
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Hey, Chip,
No,
if you
so
wanted to
back to Chip's original question. I'm bringing it back.
If you want to answer your question, I have one.
Well, I don't even remember what the question was.
The question
Well,
was
and
the,
the-
ex- the Anthas.
Oh yeah, so the Antha is gonna start tonight. I mean, we already did the play-ins; they're live. But after the show, we're gonna start the Antha brackets, and that alone, I think, is a really interesting semi-bracket.
And the answer to your question, though, is because it was too hard to be like, well, man, would Prince win this thing if I put Prince and the Revolution? Would Tom Petty win this thing if it was like, it just didn't seem fair. So I wanted to keep it with people who identified as a band. Like they didn't identify as this is the head guy and this is the head girl and this is the band. So like Joan Jett, like it's like it kind of like, if we identify with the person, then I got to include Michael Jackson, and I got to include Tina Turner, then I got to include Bob Dylan.
You're
and
really complicating the shit out of this, though, because all the bands you're mentioning aren't in the play-in bracket.
No, but that's fine. But that's why it's a play-in bracket. That's why there's no way I could do 64 and include solo artists.
You'll have to do a solo artist bracket.
We'll have to
I agree.
There's enough.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100%, Tim, with that. I agree 100% with that.
So that's what we'll do. Let's announce it now, right? On the lot. We're gonna do. Man, I gotta stop committing to all this.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna do it. I'm not doing it.
I'll do it.
I'm already in enough hot water with this bracket. I'm getting like shot at left and right on Twitter.
Is that me or Chad?
Yet.
You want me to give you 75 names, Wook? I can come up with 75 solo American.
We'll do this off.
Yeah.
We'll do this offline though. Let's not do this publicly live. But yeah, let's start putting a list together. I think it'll be fun.
It will be fun.
God,
You know, I really
Taylor
think
Swift
what
wins.
Matt was saying about REM, they created indie rock. I mean, ultimately, so they did. There was nothing like indie rock beforehand. The do-it-yourself aesthetic.
Husker Du would like a word.
Yeah.
Fugazi would like a word.
Fugazi isn't the same music as REM. Fugazi isn't indie rock. They're hardcore punk, whatever you want to call it.
Save it for the blog, dude.
All right, well, that's a good transition. I will make that quick announcement. The Wook blog returns later this week. Finally, the much anticipated, highly sought after Wook blog will return. No, I think you have a point too. I said the top right was weak, and we were talking about this. I don't know if it was live or before the show, but I'm one of those guys that is very, very, very myopic and stuck in the jam band world and the Phish world. Like, I listen. Diversity in listening to me is listening to like 09 versus 95 versus, you know what I mean? Like, that's where my diverse listening is. It's like if I listen to Round Room and Ghost in the same day, I'm like, man, I'm really expanding today. So I think that's maybe why I thought the top right was a little bit weak, was because that's where Phish is, right? So I was like, oh man, they're just gonna blow past all of these guys. But
no, that's what I love. That's what I love about your brackets is they've introduced me to different Phish sometimes that I wasn't listening to. I mean, last summer I was playing through playlists, just sitting in the pool, loving everything that was in the brackets, and it was really getting me going, thinking about Phish. And similarly with this sort of, maybe want to wet my beak in some great American rock that I haven't listened to in a while.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into some of these bands too that I don't know more about.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea, is to make you think about these bands that like they all have staying power. Like that was the one thing we were looking. Go ahead. Sorry,
so I was gonna say that's the second idea. The main idea is to cause egregious amounts of melts.
Well,
and
true.
We're really just an elaborate troll farm here. Right. But beyond that, the second, what we tell people the point is to expand and to learn about other bands.
The Putin of the Phish community.
Vladimir Wook.
Yeah, it's
Jesus Christ. But you have to laugh at it, right? It's satirical to me. Is like, I think that people that take anything too seriously is kind of where the humor is. So by like turning a mirror on it, like I don't want to make the brackets more than they are, right? But kind of in my mind, that's what it always has been, is like turning a mirror on the scene and be like, you guys take yourself super serious, and you think, people are wrong. It's so funny. Matt's probably thinking like, look, you just yelled at me about my gumbo take 2 weeks ago, and here I am like preaching. But there is a little bit of ridiculousness to our
we just went out of the damn fucking chat because I was like, hey dude,
he's working on the Wook blog coming back next.
Okay.
Yeah, no, so I think this bracket is going to definitely cause a ton of melts, and I'm super excited about that.
And it
I
already
forgot
is,
what else
and
we were
it's
talking
so
about.
much fun. It's so much fun.
There's going to be melts just from that and the.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I think it's going to be Tom Petty versus Bruce Springsteen, right? Like I think
should
that,
be.
and I think that matchup is going to be the toughest matchup until like the Elite Eight or Final Four, right? You're not going to see a matchup that tight until you get deep into it. And I think whoever wins that matchup is going to be in the Elite Eight. Like, I think they're going to, and I don't know, it's interesting. I like that some of these matchups are based on genre or timing and not just on strict seeding, because it gives you really hard, really interesting matchups right off the top. It's not just progressively more difficult, bracket like traditional.
And also just so people watching know, the Dead and Phish are on the same side of the bracket, so it's not going to come down to the Dead versus Phish, just so you know. And
well, it will at some point, likely.
Well, no, but
on
that side, that won't be the championship, though. That will not be the championship. So
just lay on the ground and start flopping now. Basically,
Bob Seger, both Petty and Springsteen, I think, owe a debt to Bob Seger. That he laid the path for heartland rock and roll, working man's rock and roll kind of thing.
Boy, I'm down with that.
Hey, that's a solid take, Gavin. You're not going to change anybody's opinion, but there you go.
Oh, no, there's no way Bob Seger will get past. I think he's going to end up playing Petty if he wins against Hootie, I believe is how it works. But Tom Petty deserves to win the whole thing. I mean, he has a million good songs.
Wook, I thought we did Hootie as a joke. Like, I didn't think we were really serious.
No, it's in there.
Poor Hootie.
Should have done a train versus Hootie for the massive melts.
Yeah.
Like, make you choose. You have to choose one of these. You know,
reverse
is it
melt.
Train, is it Hootie? Yeah,
you might as well throw the Fray in there as well.
Who the hell are you talking about, Llama? Nobody knows the Fray.
The Fray.
So
are they American?
Yeah,
that actually has come up several times. Like,
okay.
There's the obvious ones that aren't American, right? Like Beatles, Who, Zeppelin, Floyd. But there's been a number of bands that people have like, oh, why aren't they in there? And then you remind them that they're not American. Like, oh, yeah. I didn't realize that. There's a lot of non-American bands that are really incredible. I know to say Fleetwood Mac the other day, but they're not American, but they would have been in there.
The Fray. Who's the Fray?
Old rock 2000s.
Yeah, they had that
Chad, I think you're
Over My Head cable car song.
They had
or How to Save a Life.
Yeah, they were on like all of the TV shows. Their songs were on like every different drama.
Retail radio.
Where did I go wrong? I lost a friend. Where along in the bitterness, and I would have stayed up with you all night if I'd known how to save a life. Yeah, How to Save a Life.
I don't recognize it yet. Keep going.
Oh no, that's all I got. That's all I got.
That was awesome, though.
That was
take it back to the top.
I know. Yeah, back to one.
No, I want to do a decidedly purposeful pivot real quick though before our next guest comes on, and have Chip take a couple of minutes and tell us about what Mockingbird is doing with this COVID relief and their big campaign, because we are huge supporters of Mockingbird and very grateful for everything you guys do and allies to your causes and interested in what's going on. And
occasional donors.
Yeah, so similarly, we're big fans of you guys. You guys are great for the community. We know you're great supporters. I've tuned in to episodes where you're holding up our logos, talking about donating. It's awesome, man, because it's a foundation that I'm thrilled to be part of. I volunteered with them for a long time and just joined the board a few years ago. And the COVID Relief Fund, we have an emergency grant program where we sort of hold a little bit of money for emergency grants each year. And usually it's like there was a fire at a school and all the tubas burned. Yeah, Drew Hitz is gonna be pissed at me for saying that, but and then we go
so
in
tragic.
and we can help fund, give them some money to fund in place of an emergency. But COVID, in terms of its scale, right, is going to impact music ed programs in ways that you can't even imagine. I mean, the arts are the first things to get chopped if a state has a shitty year, and every state is having a shitty year this year. So Bill Ryan, who's on the board, really spearheaded it. Stephanie Jenkins helped pull together so much for it. We started looking at programs that we could fund. I really love what they did, and sort of parlaying ones that we've worked with before, programs that we funded recently. So they're vetted. We know they're good. We know, we believe they made it all the way through our processes, which is one of the most competitive around. And it gives us a chance to really help these music ed programs keep going. So it started with us saying, we'll do 25 grand. And then what we'll do is we'll set up a match of 25 grand. And for every dollar everyone else donates, you basically get a double effect. You can feel like, I donate $100, I really donated too. And just today we hit 90% of that goal. I think we're at like 22.5. So we're only $2,500 away from basically maxing out 75 grand worth of gifts.
Let's do this.
Wow.
Anyone watching and with the bracket, I think we can get that 2,500.
I'm pledging $100 to Mockingbird right now.
I'll pledge 101 just to.
Okay. I'm doing it right. I'm doing it right.
I got 102. We have a 103. Let's go.
But music education, Chip, is very close.
I got 103.
All of ours.
Thank you,
Llama. But like all music education is close to all of our hearts. I work in schools, and you guys actually, y'all reached out to me at one point. And I'm still working on thinking of ways that I could, figure out a grant for some of the elementary school, band stuff, and work that thing out, So it's so incredible and it's so needed. And y'all are so active in reaching out, not just going like, we're here, but also going, hey, come to us. We've got grants here. Come to us. It's such an incredible program.
I was a music band nerd in high school. That was me. I was in the percussion section. I'm sorry. First chair. Boom. But anyway, I
was the drum major, bitch.
The drum major is the person that just has the baton. You don't actually do anything.
It conducts the band.
First chair, snare, bitch. Anyway.
Whatever. I was in the
Anyways,
drum line.
the chat chipped in and they're saying they're 104. Bill.
Awesome. Thank
Good job,
you.
Bill.
My 105. Wait, what did I say? 102? Whatever.
I'm so glad I got in first at 100. I'm saving so much money right now.
You're the real winner.
Anyway, I was gonna say that my high school band was extremely well funded. Like, we had all the equipment we needed. In fact, one summer, my band director had gotten a synthesizer that he let me take home for the summer because he knew I was interested in that. Like, it was one of the first like sampler synthesizer, things. Like,
right.
We were so well funded. We had uniforms, all the instruments we could have wanted, and it developed a lot of good like feelings and character, and it's so important. It is so important to fund that kind of stuff. And
absolutely. I mean, talk about the education of the whole child, right?
Right.
A whole human being, and knowing all that's it really
and not to make light of our whole drum major little funny bit there, but like being like first chair taught me leadership. It taught me it taught me
discipline and practice how
listening. It's
and I know a lot of people get that out of sports, and I don't want to make this whole thing about but
true.
Not everybody is a star athlete.
Those I learned from baseball.
Yeah.
Right. I know. And there's, but the thing is, in my opinion, and Chip, maybe you're more connected, you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's a little easier to get funding for sports because it's like
it is
out
all the
front
money,
and like there's a
all the
popularity
money
to
goes
it.
to sports.
But not everybody is a natural, has the arm to be a pitcher, right?
Right.
But I was that guy that didn't really want to be on the football team and really wasn't that interested in baseball, but somebody handed me a pair of drumsticks and it changed my life. And without the music program, I would not be an engineer. I would not be having this Phish show. I wouldn't be anything that I am without that music program. I attribute my entire life to that.
Athletics definitely finds funding. And I'll give you an example. I work in education too. And there is a program on Long Island, a district that wasn't able to float their budget. I mean, they really were having a hard time. Every single athlete, local sports team came out and their athletics teams were fully funded. Their arts didn't exist. So when we did tour grants, we do tour grants around where Phish tours. When they played Nassau, we gave a tour grant to them to help out. And it was a drop in the bucket, but it was a meaningful drop in the bucket to help them keep that program going. And, you know, it's really a testament. The board that we have is fantastic. You know, we try, it's a great light for our community that we're doing this sort of stuff. I mean, it really makes us look good. People from the outside don't really know what's going on inside this Phish community. I mean, you can think if you were an outsider looking in what it must look like. And then when you hear these amazing things as a community, not just what Mockingbird does, but so many different avenues. But with Mockingbird, we don't have a paid staff. You know, when we come up with an idea, there's no one that's going to do it. The board members sort of have to step up and put in the work and get it done. And that's really how this COVID relief fund went. You know, if board members didn't really dedicate a lot of time, and we have some fantastic board members that really did it, I'm not going to claim to be one of them. You know, there was a pack of them that really drove this home. So yeah, anyone that wants to donate, you can go to mbird.org/COVID relief. Right now, still, you can get matching amount of money on it.
I got a question
It's a
about
great way to double the impact of your gift.
You know what? You just made me super emotional, and I also want to say that nobody ever tore an ACL playing French horn. That's all.
Hey, have you guys thought about reprinting the Phish Book 3 for extra COVID relief?
So, you know, it comes up time and time again, and not to get too much into internal stuff, but part of the problem is they go out of date so quickly, and that's tough with Phish, you know. The last one was a really beautiful piece, and yeah, there's I love the first one.
Well, I was also going to say, you got some time now. It's not going to go out of date anytime soon.
Yeah, right.
This is the time.
The cost involved with making them also is significant, and the time.
Who do I talk to if I want to pitch an idea, though? Because
Kickstarter.com.
No, with Mockingbird, because we have an idea of animating to Phish music, right? And I know you've done the albums and stuff, and Wook Plus, we've been doing these video productions, and I'm not trying to make a profit on anything, but maybe we'll talk offline. Yeah. I think there's some projects I would love to pitch to see if we can work together and try to make something out of it. I don't know.
You're always
trying to connect and pitch.
Yeah, of course.
Plus, we just raised $1,000 for you, I think, just now.
Right?
I'm doing the math. Like,
well, he put the challenge out there. He said 2,500 to reach the goal of that. We're doing that tonight. I'm not going to sleep until we get enough people donating.
I'm not watching the YouTube chat or anything like that, but if you're watching, I'm putting in 100. What, Tim's going 101?
101, 102, whatever. I'll probably do a little
Llama's
more.
going 103.
Hey,
Chat's going 104.
Chat's going
collectively.
104. Bill Ryan.
We're gonna have Bill on soon too.
He's awesome.
I really want to have him on. I don't want to jump off of this, but we have our last guest in the waiting room, so we're gonna keep this party rolling here. Let's see.
Okay.
Find out who is the New York man behind Phish Pheed and who believes John Fishman is an essential worker. Save you a click, it's Jake Beckman.
I feel like I say this every week, but the intro music that the guest pick, it's just phenomenal.
I was gonna say, Jake, did you catch that?
What's that?
Did you catch your intro?
No, I didn't. But how did it turn out?
Play it again.
Sounded great.
I'll play it again. Play it again. No, play it again.
Oh, you want to do it again?
I want to. I want to
mind.
see it. Yeah. No, do it again.
All right. There's no rules here. We do what we want.
Find out who is the New York man behind Phish Pheed and who believes John Fishman is an essential worker. Save you a click, it's Jake Beckman.
Oh, good.
So, Jake, I'm really proud of that because the note I got from Wook was that you wanted the transition from Reba into Jam Reba.
Yeah, and I was gonna specify like I want to start with like the Fishman hits, but I didn't want to micromanage, so I just figured like I'd see what happened, and that was like exactly what I was thinking. So I mean,
damn,
like you could go like punch you in the eye or something, but like what better like here it is, then when
Dude,
they
that
drop
was a
it,
solid choice, and it made me
Yes.
find out that part of the song and then drop it right at the last. Oh, dude.
Let me ask you a
so
question.
much.
Which Reba did you choose?
I think that's the album.
Oh, all right, man.
Yeah,
Well,
I know. I
next
know.
time,
Yeah,
your favorite Reba, we can talk about it.
yeah, I know. It was lazy. Going with the album
Good,
version was
you're
late.
good.
That was
Don't
my
worry about
bad.
it, man.
Chad really wanted to trigger the YouTube algorithm, so he went with the most recognizable version.
Dude, we are getting
And we
so
played it
flagged.
twice, so
Party in the USA earlier too.
We're getting so flagged.
That was Party in the USA algorithm.
Miley Cyrus.
Oh no.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
good. Welcome. I'm super happy to have you on. Thank you
Yeah,
for
it's
joining
good.
in.
It took me a while to figure out which hoodie I wanted to wear, and I was super close on
classic.
like a OG bathtub gin hoodie. But then I started watching. I hadn't seen your show before, but I did see that Tom was on last week, and so I was like, I watched the old episodes, and you guys are wooks, dude. So I was like, you know what? Tricolor, logo. I just got to go and be my Wookiee self. So I got my signs back here. I'm ready to go.
That was one of the proudest moments, by the way. Tom comes on and he's like, wow, you could be a full-time Wook. I was like, all right, well, I'm good. Right, I'll take that. Hey, Travis.
Well, Trav's here.
Tease on.
Well, Jake, thank you for calling us all. You know, we're some serious wooks. I appreciate that. That probably comes off about as quickly as anything would come off from our show. I'm sure it was like it takes about
But
5 minutes.
It said lovingly, of course, like totally lovingly.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
no,
we
absolutely.
own that. I think they're.
Oh,
you
hey,
know.
and not to take away from Jake's time at all. I want to get into
Please.
this a little bit, but I do have to say one of my favorite moments was when we discovered that Tom Marshall was a Wook. When he talked about running into the crowd away from security, and we were all like all of us were like, "You're a total Wook," and like that was one of my favorite moments on the lot of all time.
Like, don't you think that makes sense that Tom is a Wook at heart? I mean, how could you be
Yeah.
Tom and not be be that?
But he just
Majestically coiffed hair.
Perfect
the
teeth.
nice shirts.
He had a nice tan too.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
that
real.
was
No,
so
I think
great.
that's kind of something that I feel is part of the whole Wook brand, Wook Plus, Weekend Wook, and everything is we're all varying levels of Wook, right? It's like a Wook spectrum. And I think there's a lot of negative connotation about it outside of our, immediate focus, but we're kind of taking that back and realizing that you can be a professional and have your family and whatever, but still Wook out when it's appropriate. And I think that we should celebrate that, right? Like, why not?
I think that like a Wook really is just like the true side of you that is begging to come out when you get on lot, right? And some people let that Wook out 100%, and some people only let it out 20%. And that's okay. You're still letting your freak flag fly, but definitely a spectrum. But everyone's got a little bit of Wook in them, and so I appreciate what you guys are doing and the branding you guys went with.
The whole weekend thing, by the way, went out the window.
A long ass weekend now in quarantine.
Well, yeah, I was like, I've been a week
Wook Central.
24/7 for like 4 months now. It's like the
Chip.
original Wook.
Tiny
Chip,
Wook.
what's that?
That was a tiny Wook.
Baby
There
Wook.
Man, by the third guest spot, I shouldn't admit this, but like things just
Yeah.
get completely, everything's just out there, right? It's just
Great. You were like, yo, come on, 7:30. We're gonna be rolling. Everything's gonna be fucking on fire. We'll be on for an hour already. And shit, I show up, you guys are all half in the bag.
Oh,
A
all
little
the
bit,
way,
but-
all the way in the back. It's not even half anymore.
no, it's good though. I guess each week we vary on our level. Some weeks we're really lit at this point. Right now, I think we're at a good medium level. I think
Cool.
by showtime we'll be good.
All right,
We'll
good.
be all the way in the
Try to
bag.
catch up.
Yeah, we're on the lot. Tell us about Saved You a Click.
Oh,
We're gonna start there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm dying to know, but I'm dying to know about this. Like when I put 2 and 2, or actually Fam put 2 and 2 together for me, and I'm like, oh,
did you
I like
did
this
you know? Did you know the project before, or were you?
no,
I knew the
familiar with it.
project.
Yeah,
But I don't think we knew that you
don't-
were.
Yeah,
that-
so I never really publicized, like, not because for any reason, but just because So Save You Click is this Twitter account that I made like 5 years ago. It's like all Twitter accounts that it went viral. It has a couple 100,000 followers. The idea was that like it was when clickbait was really big. You won't believe this, and you click or something stupid. So the idea was like really simple, is that I would click on the link and then I would just like say what it was. And then
Phenomenal.
I saved you click.
Jeez,
Yeah, people really liked it. But you know, I was it's maybe in like 2013 or 2014. It's a fucking long ass time ago now. But like there's only so much of that shit you can do before you get like I can't click on another link. Like I can't.
Is that you or is that written? Is that like an algorithm or a
no,
bot?
that's
Or is
me.
that...
You know, I got you know, when it went big and it got like, you know, profiled in some places, like everything does. The coolest one though is, I don't know if you guys know Steve Lacy, who's a fan, who does the Fox 5 News.
Yeah, I'm hoping he'll come
he's
on
on
the
the
lot,
box.
but I think he has a
Yeah,
reputation
so
to
shout out
preserve.
Steve Lacy. I went on his Fox 5 show. I went to the Fox 5 studios, and that was like pretty wild sitting there talking about some stupid ass internet thing I did. But
Dude, it's a great public service. I mean, I will say that. Like that.
I love doing it as a public service, and it's a great thing to do when you're bored. Like I'll pop in and out of it now, but you know, people are like, it's not my job, right? Like I don't like, it's not what I do. So,
I feel for you,
man. It's like, yo, I had a kid and I got like you know, I took a break. It's okay. But it kind of took on a life of its own, especially with me like kind of deciding I was going to be more intermittent on. I used to do like a bunch a day. But there's like a subreddit that has, I think, 500,000 followers where people do it. There's a hashtag where people do it. Yeah. So
Jake,
like, it's kind of
cool. Ask you, and you'd be very honest with me. Do you kind of resent or hate Save You a Click? I feel like there's like this little bit. It's like you stumbled upon this great idea and then you get identified with it. And you're like, oh, really? That's the first question?
No. I don't resent it at all. I think it's been cool. Honestly, like creating something that connects with anyone in this like digital environment is sweet. And I remember the day that it started popping off, like it was like it always does with like a thing, like somebody who had a big following retweeted it, and then and then a couple 100,000 later, and like so I love that I had that experience, and I love that I have an audience to talk to when I want them, and I love that it took on a life of its own. You know, it's just like, what were you doing 7 years ago? You know, you want to talk about it?
Right. No,
I love it. I made a decision never to like do anything like turn it into a company or try to make it a brand. The whole idea was like, people are like doing all this bullshit for money and they're putting all this shit out there, and I'm gonna like lampoon it. And I just looked to myself in the mirror. I couldn't like turn into one of those like here's every fucking article that was printed today. I couldn't do that to the thing that I created. And you know, I developed like a character voice and a real like distinct relationship with the audience, where they expected me to be like a certain kind of person against the bullshit. And so like if I turned around, if I like started a Patreon, right, or if I like it was like, oh, here's my Venmo, or like whatever, something simple like that, like they like I was smart enough, I think, to say like people are gonna fucking hate you for doing that. So like, what are you gonna do it for like $100? Like why would you throw your brand equity away? So
that's a tough question. And I feel really good
about my morals having never done that. So
attaboy. Attaboy. You know, I asked because the reason I asked that question off the top was because I know the guys that created do you guys know Chicago Party Ant?
I don't know.
On Twitter. Oh, good follow. And then the guy that did
they pay for that plug, Chad?
No.
Come
and
on,
then
man.
they did hold on. And then the guy that did Roy Moore's horse. No. All right.
You're
you know what?
1,000, buddy.
We'll slide on from this.
No, but I want to hear
topic.
the end of that. No, I want to hear the end of the story.
The end of the story is that they're getting like movie pitches and book pitches about like these characters that they
yeah. So like I never wanted to do that. Like that's what people do. They have an account and it goes viral, and then they turn it into a book deal. That book gets optioned. I mean, I bet like it's cool to make a bunch of money. Like I'm not saying that that's not cool, but also like it's about like what do you want to do with the things that you make, and like the communities that you create. Like, I think that there's a parallel, like I'm not drawing a parallel between myself or anything that I've created and like Phish and what they've created, but there's a similarity between like what Phish will do. Like, the famous stories of they used to cover up all the advertisements in the arena, right? Like, like stuff like that. There are values that you bring to the table when you bring a creative endeavor forward. And either those values are like, I'm doing this because I want to turn it into something that makes money for me, or your value is I'm doing it because I think it's something that like deserves to be done, and should be done.
Worth doing.
Yeah, and like, what was I going to do? Create a website and run ads against my content, and then become the very thing I was fighting against? I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing with that balance, right? Balancing with that line of you're kind of taking on that corporate clickbait society. You can't really then go and be part of it.
Right. Can't make saved you a click from saved you a click. Right. Like I say
that kind of meta levels where Wook Plus is, though. We would be the guys that saved you a click from save you a click.
You know what? There are like people, there are like spin-off accounts that are not me, that are like like the antelopes or whatever. No disrespect to the runaway gyms of the world. But, there are like, there's Saved You Click video games, or there's Saved You Click movies, or like Saved You Click India. And, there's all this stuff. And, I say, God bless, it's great. There's one that I got pissed at. It was this dude who was trying to like leverage, he took the name and was trying to leverage it into a company himself with like different verticals. And he was calling it the same thing. And I told him to go fuck himself. But other than that, like, I think God bless, it's like.
Did Twitter have your back on that?
I don't think anyone at Twitter would have anyone's back on anything.
That's true.
They have Twitter's back. That's who they have.
Did Twitter have my back? No, they didn't. But I didn't ask them to. I mean, people did. That's the thing when you have an audience. Like, I was like, yo, this is fucked up. And people,
I guess what I meant by Twitter was
fucked up, but like, I wasn't trying to do that. But I don't think Twitter did anything about it or anything. But you got to be careful not to like activate people into doing like your bidding in a way that you don't want them to. Like, I didn't want that at all,
Gotcha.
But I think it's great, and it's cool. It was cool playing with. It came up around the time actually that the Phish Pheed, which is the other thing that I was
gonna say, I enjoy the Phish Pheed.
Came up. Thanks, man.
I'm sorry. Like, we can move on from the.
No, it's cool, because I was gonna say, like, I was working for various like media or media adjacent companies when I was doing the project, and like the idea for Save You Click was like to like kind of skewer the bullshit that I was seeing at my job all the time. It was kind of like there are a couple of like pissed off people who work in this industry type of accounts. But one of my jobs was like a tech company, and we had this pretty silly feature that they were debuting, and I was trying to test it out, and I created a fake new Twitter account with a guy who worked there, my buddy Jared Dicker. Shout out Jared if you're out there. And Jared and I came up with this idea that we would do it about Phish, because he was like talking about Trey. I realized this guy liked Phish. We would like listen to jams all day. And it was like a social media feed type of idea where you would write back to people. And I came up with this idea called the Phish Pheed, like a play on Phish food. And basically it was like just sending auto replies to people when I retweeted them. I put them on a page. It was called the Phish Pheed, and it would say, you're on the Phish Pheed. And that was the idea. Then I realized that sucked because no one wanted those messages. But I loved the name. And because I worked, like I spent a lot of time working in newsroom. I spent like 10 years working. I was like at ABC and Bloomberg Television and other places, NBC News and other places like that. I worked like in TV news basically for a while. I like never really felt super comfortable talking about Phish out on my Twitter, which is where I used to break news from the newsroom. And so Phish Pheed was like, cool, I can talk about Phish here. It's like away from my like professional thing, and that's cool. But I also discovered there's this other thing that I have helped create, which is called Journofish. Shout out anyone Journofish who's watching.
Oh, hell yeah.
We had Brian Reese on.
Was Brian last week about it? Cool, he's the man.
No,
I don't even think we got to, but he had mentioned it.
Oh, he didn't mention it. Was I not supposed to say what it was called? Oh shit.
No, in our pre-production notes, because I was talking to him before the show, much like I talked to you guys, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm also part of Journofish," but I don't think we got to because that was the Tom Marshall episode.
Conversation, but it's like the idea was that I and others like discovered like, wow, we all work in news and like we all like Phish, and none of us feel super comfortable being super open about just how much we like Phish. And how often we want to talk about it.
So you come on the lot, and that's what we're like bragging about.
So it was like an email list that was like the lot for people who work in media in various capacities. And there was like 10 of us, 5 of us to start. And now they're like, oh man, like pushing 70 or 80. There are a bunch of people on the list now, and it's cool. It's nice to have people talking about Phish in your inbox.
You don't have to. You don't have to give out any names, but just let me know if Katie Tour watches the lot. Is she a fan of the show?
I don't know, but I'll try to see what I can find out.
Okay.
And technically, we make docs and stuff, so we're kind of journalists. So if we, you want to add us,
we've done research.
Yeah. So if you want to make us part of Journofish, I mean, I don't think we check it out. We check it out.
I think that's as strong an argument as anyone else might have. But it's cool. It's also been a great place to like, just like see. I was coming up. I was in my early 20s, trying to come up in an industry that's hard to come up in. And it was cool to see that like there were people who I looked up to professionally who went to shows and knew what Harpua was and like knew like the pentagram Harpua from like the Roxy Harpua, like that's cool. And I never knew that like there were so many heads around me. And so then I started like, I had these Phish pendants from shows that I liked back in the early 3.0. I started hanging those like at my desk at work. Like, I didn't really care if anyone, because my boss was ahead at the time. And so I said, you know what, fuck it. If my boss is ahead, then I'm just gonna just hang my Phish merch. So
where did you go to journalism school?
Didn't.
It's overrated.
Phish lot is where he went to journalism.
I mean, I went to college. I went to Columbia here in the city, but I never studied journalism or anything.
It's a pretty good school.
I just know that like there's a big one in Syracuse, and I was wondering
there is.
Syracuse
There's a big one. There's a big one. I mean, lots of schools have big ones. I think that like the jury is out, I think is the kind way of saying about who is right for a journalism program and how much value that adds.
That's originally what I went to school for. And then halfway through it, I was looking at new media and print publication and realized that I probably wasn't gonna be able to make a living. So I went to school for PR.
Yeah, I think the right call. I really tried. I worked my first gig out of college, like I graduated senior year, and then I worked the overnight news shift at ABC News from midnight until 11 a.m. for Good Morning America, and sucked.
Wait, that was your first job out of college? Is that what you're saying? I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I was like the low on the total.
Good Morning America?
It was like the
Columbia.
No, not even
well,
that.
no. I mean, that's what I'm
not even that. So they run something called Early Morning News. I think it's called I don't even remember what it's called now.
So you lied to us, Jake.
No. It led into Good Morning America, but at 3 or 4 in the morning, ABC News was the only network that ran a live newscast at that hour. So if like, if you're like you're still up from the night before, or if you're waking up for the next day,
it's like Good Morning Insomniacs.
Good Morning Insomniacs.
Yeah,
good night Insomniac.
Yeah, something like that.
It's for Sniffany and her boyfriend.
Yeah. So that was the show that I worked on, and then I got like the upgrade. Was a 3 a.m. shift, which was more tied to Good Morning America. And then I worked weekends at ABC. So like what you learn is your dream job of being in television. Like I had a cool experience in college where I somehow wound up interning for Stephen Colbert's show. And then the next year I wound up interning for The Daily Show, just like random luck applying to the programs. So I was like, I gotta be in television. This shit is awesome. These guys are great. And I'll always remember that like the last day of interning at The Daily Show, this is when Jon Stewart was hosting. We put you in a room with John, And they're like, cool, like you've been here all semester, like, or whatever, all summer, whenever I did it. Now here's your, 30 minutes to sit down with John and like talk to him and ask him questions. Everyone had like, and he asked like what everyone wanted to do when they were like, through with their college. And I said that I wanted to work in broadcast news. And I'll never forget, John started looking me in the eye and said, why the fuck would you ever want to do that?
Attaboy.
And I said, oh, because like it's important or whatever. He said, all right, well, best luck, man. And John,
Good luck.
Totally right. It's tough. It's a tough industry. To cut your teeth. Then I went to Bloomberg and I worked 6 a.m. and that was a huge upgrade for me. And, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, I said, like, I don't know how long I can do this shit because
those hours are insane. That's
and you know what?
madness.
It's like you do those hours and you're thinking like, I'm doing it because I'm working towards my dream job. Right. And like, I think a lot of people quickly find out that working in a broadcast newsroom is not your dream job. Like it seems cool, but it's not your dream job.
Hey, Jake, I'm going to ask you to flex for 1 second.
Okay.
Who is the most famous person in your cell phone?
Oh man. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say. Actually.
Well, you don't have to give out their number.
Again, no one watches. This is what.
I mean, Tom Marshall debuted Epitaph for the very first time on our show. Like five people commented on it.
Can I look at my phone and we can record it later as bonus content? Release it.
I'll give an update. I'm going to give an update on the play-in matches for the Greatest American Rock Band bracket.
Can I give one story first though? Someone who is
yeah.
I have a picture of in my cell phone. I had a very nasty encounter with Alec Baldwin once when I was working.
Of course you did.
And I wound up on the cover of the New York Post. Remember when he wouldn't get off the plane because he was playing Words with Friends or whatever? Yeah, I went to JFK to get a video of him, and he pushed me out of the way. I was on the cover of the New York Post. That one. I have one other story before the play.
You were assaulted by Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, a little bit. It's okay.
This is better than goats. Oh my God.
There was this time when I was at Bloomberg and I went into the bathroom to take a piss, and there's Jeff Bridges standing at the sink because he was on Charlie Rose that night. That's where they filmed it. And Jeff Bridges, I've tweeted about this story, so I feel comfortable telling it. Jeff Bridges is furiously with a paper towel just dabbing at his crotch, just like dab. And he looks at me, Jeff Bridges, two of us in the men's room, and he goes, dude, I swear to God, it's not piss. And I said, all right, Jeff Bridges, whatever you say.
Did you say, all right, Jeff Bridges? Did you use his full name? Did you say, all right, Jeff Bridges?
All right, Jeff Bridges. I think I just said, all right, dude, but I didn't mean it like dude, but I think in retrospect, I realized it.
I think I would use the full name if I were in
I would go, okay, Jeff Bridges, I believe
whatever
you.
Bridges.
Yeah, but that's the most dude encounter. Like, you want to not be like cliche and be like, oh, you're the dude, man. What's up, dude? But then he literally does like the most the dude thing. He's dabbing his crotch in the bathroom.
Absent the White Russian in his hand, I think it was basically spot on.
A Credence tape in one hand and a White Russian.
All right. Anyway, sorry. Play-in matches. I'm very, very curious to hear.
Okay.
Yeah. No. So I want to get your take on them. We'll do real quick lightning. You tell me what you pick, and then I'll tell you where we're at right now. We're about.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, yeah. That's what we do.
Just tell me if I'm wrong. I would prefer that.
I don't think you're going to be wrong on these.
I got that covered.
What are we at? We're like an hour and a half into
Here comes the second train vote.
200 votes in or whatever. All right. Counting Crows, Black Crows.
Oh, man. Black Crows.
Yeah. 74% Black Crows or 192 votes in.
It depends on the vibe. Do I feel like a good cry or do I feel like I'm looking for the Great American Rock Band? I mean, I love Counting Crows in the right context.
It's been a long.
I saw Counting Crows open. No, Trey actually opened up for the Counting Crows, the New Year's 05 or whatever. And I'm starting to think that I shouldn't say this out loud and admit it publicly, but I think we left during the Black Crow set. It was like a set of Trey and then a set of the Black Crows for New Year's Eve. And I was not into the Black Crows set. Like, I was there for Trey. And then, I don't know. Personally, I'm not a huge Black Crows guy, but that's good.
You beat the traffic.
You stay for however long of the show you want, because the show is happening for you to have a good time. You're not there for posterity. I mean, at Phish, it feels like you're there for posterity, right? Like, oh man, I gotta catch the last note of Slaves.
Does it count for my stats if I don't see the last note?
I gotta stay till the end of more. Like, I don't know how more is gonna end, but like, I think like I had a good time. I gotta get to my car. Like, I'm gonna walk. I'll walk to the back of the venue. But also, like, if you like are not feeling a show at set break, you can bounce. Like, it's cool. So like, no disrespect for that.
I live up the street from Merriweather. I left once before the encore, and by the time I got home, people were just tweeting me that the show had ended.
I'm going to respectfully disagree because I get where you're coming from, but I am in the camp of not missing a note if I can help it. Like my brother,
for sure.
I go to shows with, and he's always late. Like he always misses the first note for some reason, for whatever reason. Like right, like where it's like we're always one more beer, one more smoke, and then we'll go in. I want to be in my spot when the first note hits, and I don't leave until the last note is over.
Dude, okay, I'm in the venue like 7:20, 7:30. Okay, I'm in my seat, multiple trips to the bathroom if needed, multiple rounds, like because you know how it is. And
yeah, for sure.
By 7:55, I'm not leaving. My friends are like, I'm gonna take one more. I'm like, I'm gonna stay right here. So I get it. The first notes are important, but what I'm saying is like, then the night happens, right? And if like you're having an off night or you're just like not feeling the energy, like whatever your reasons might be, like I don't think it's cool to say like, oh my God, I can't believe you left. And people have
you can't give people shit for that. I just know there's like the 1% chance, right? Like out of 100 shows, 99% of the time it's fine. They're just gonna finish that like 20 years later or whatever, or like more. But there's that 1% time that they're just gonna go into like an insane encore, a 6-song insane encore.
Yep.
And I have the FOMO like a motherfucker. Like that's what Phish has become to me in my older age or later years is I can't miss the potential of seeing that.
I had a guy stop me from leaving the Cap Center in 1988. He said, don't go when they were doing One More Saturday Night. They're going to do another song. And they played Ripple for the only time.
Cool.
Talk about a flex.
All
right, let's keep this going.
When I saw Dead & Company at Citi Field and they started playing Drum Space, I started walking the subway.
So did I.
I think that's a fair choice.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's the beauty of the internet, right? I was walking the subway and I got on the train. The train's above ground out there. And I was watching the show on YouTube from the subway heading back to my place. Like that's what it's all about. I didn't need to be there for that. But yeah, but honestly, it's like more like do the show however you want to do it. I do have one really good story. A buddy of mine, I hope he'll forgive me, will tell about staying till the end. I think he was at MSG and he saw the band. I think it was Phoenix. You guys know the band Phoenix? I love that band. If you don't, you should check them out. They've got like a bunch of albums. They're not a jam band.
Great band.
Are they American?
No, but if they are, they should be on your bracket.
Right. Okay. Just checking.
They are not.
Okay.
How is Phoenix spelled?
Like the bird, PHOE, like the city. I guess
there's only one way to spell Phoenix.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they spelled it with like an F or something.
He didn't know how to spell it at all.
But I think it was Phoenix, and he left at the encore break, and at the encore, Daft Punk came out with them. In like some like super crazy moment, like, oh my God, it's Daft Punk, and they were like in the fucking helmets and shit. And my buddy at the time lived like 2 blocks from the Garden. He lived on 30th Street. And he got home and he was like, fuck. So, you never know. You do never know.
Yeah, they're French, and that makes sense because they're French and Daft Punk and Phoenix, but yeah, they're French.
There you go.
Man, it must be nice to know shit outside of the jam scene. I really admire you guys. I take that back. There's no point in listening to music.
That's a terrible recording of it. But that's it.
No, they're cool. They're like they're kind of like they play instruments, which I appreciate. So
that's always an important part of it.
Right? And they're always like kind of upbeat and driving, and I like bands like that. But I'm also like of a generation where like I listen to other stuff, and I saw my first show was a 1.0 show, and I didn't see Phish again until in '97, and I didn't see Phish again until '03 because my first show I saw when I was 9 years old because I have a really cool older brother, and we actually went with our mom to 12/30/97 at the Garden, and my mom is
It's a good
not-
show to
not-
see for your first
Show.
show.
9 years old.
And my mom is not a Phish mom, so my mom was like, "Don't eat anything." And
Advice,
Great.
still decent,
Great
pretty good advice.
Great
yeah.
advice.
So, but anyway, so I wasn't like seeing Phish all the time. Like I saw my next show was 2/28/03, which is another great show. And then I saw them another time or two before the thing happened, and then I've seen them like over 100 times since they came back, which is embarrassing as fuck. But the point is that like I spent a lot of time listening to other music and seeing other music that wasn't Phish. Like, I went to school in the city when LCD Sound System was playing like the Bowery Ballroom and small rooms like that, and so I got super into the DFA scene like that. So I definitely have like a broader palette than some. But now,
question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Where would you put the Strokes and LCD Sound System on the? Where would you put them in the top 64 bands?
Are they in your bracket or
Would you include them in yours? They're not in ours.
I mean, LCD Sound System to me, it in that moment and in that scene was my favorite band besides Phish. Now they've become something that I still really love, but is not the club band that they used to be. So like, so your bracket, when you look at a band, are you talking about overall, or is there like a moment in time? Like if we're saying Phish, is it like the entirety of the career?
The entirety.
No. Chad, shut the fuck up. I want to answer this.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chad, but you're wrong, because the truth is it's up to you. No.
Okay.
No,
like
and
that.
honestly, I'm very adamant about this. I didn't mean to say shut the fuck up. I know that's a trigger word.
Fuck up, Chad. Jesus.
I'm a bottle and I apologize, but
Only Jake is allowed to tell me to shut the fuck up, not
No,
you.
Chad,
Whoop.
I agree. I'm sorry.
But the Strokes I feel less warmly about, honestly. Like I like the Strokes. I listened to that new Strokes album that just came out. It sounded like every Strokes album that I've ever heard.
Chad.
But to me, like there was a thing that was happening with LCD Sound System in New York City specifically.
Well, all those bands kind of came up around the same time.
Yeah, all those bands were big, but I thought that like there was a special quality to what LCD was doing in Brooklyn and in like downtown Manhattan that was just like very like I don't know if you guys are familiar like with the book Meet Me in the Bathroom, but it's like all about the rock.
Yeah.
Very much like a moment out of that book. Where it's like cool, like you're in a scene and like you're able to like catch these like this universe of bands around the city and like it was fun. But I thought LCD Sound System on the first couple albums and before they really broke up and then came back and super cash cowed it. You know, I thought what they were doing was really cool because of James, honestly. I know James catches a lot of shit, but I thought the idea that you could be old and neurotic and decide that you were gonna go in the spotlight and you had a voice that people wanted to hear. Like I thought that was really cool. And I liked that he was such an asshole about himself. So
Hey,
rock and roll, man. That's rock and roll.
Yeah. Hey, Wook, I want to give you a chance to make your point because I think I'm going to agree with your point. You were saying that voting on the bracket is up to you. Like, do you want to view it as an entirety or a moment?
Yeah, and it's probably more important and personal to me than most people because, like, I've been asked this question, like, literally thousands of times. But the criteria of voting has always been one of the big questions about the brackets, right? Like, especially when I keep it vague with the song brackets, but the band brackets, the jam brackets. Oh, is it, technical performance or is it personal relationship? Is it nostalgia? Is it general greatness? And I have made a very concerted effort, I think, from the beginning to try to keep all of the brackets vague on purpose, right? Because I don't want to dictate or gatekeep or do anything to – I want that question to be part of the fun for people, right? So when you address the greatest American rock band bracket, I want you to contemplate: is it what it's done for me personally? What has it done for society? Is it musical?
Well, it's
execution?
Yeah, it's like the same thing we did with the whole Phish song bracket. It's like, okay, Strange Design. Am I voting for it live or am I voting for a
or
recording?
studio? Are you voting for? Some of the songs were played one time, some were played 300 times, right? And I never wanted to prescribe my opinion or the criteria onto people because I think personally, I think that's what's fun about it. So I didn't mean you're right. And I'm glad you gave me a chance to explain myself because I feel bad. I didn't mean to say shut the fuck up. I would just it's important to me to make the point that like these brackets are purposefully vague.
I think shut the fuck up was the first of the most important melts that we're gonna have in these brackets. Like you were so adamant to get in there.
Like Chad, shut the fuck up.
You melted on air.
Well, I got a melt about your previous bracket. I watched with great interest your 2.0 jams bracket. And I am a huge 2.0 fan, understanding that there are moments in 2.0 that are the worst. I've listened to the shit from Vegas. I've listened to everything, you know, I understand. However, there are moments in 2.0 and many of them that are full stop, my favorite moments that Phish has ever played.
Yeah, the Nassau show you mentioned.
Phenomenal. What's that, Chip?
The Nassau show that you mentioned. I was there too. It was amazing.
Hell yeah, dude. And that tweet was good, but the rest of the show was really good too. They had that Destiny Unbound bust out, that Soul Shakedown. But there are moments like there's this great mix on YouTube called the Oxyhose mix that I'm sure you guys have all heard. That shit just rips, man. And like, you know, there's another one called Grit and Grime, if you guys are familiar. I think it's all just June or July of 2004. That's like, you know, to me, I listened to some of those shows, and if you're not familiar with them, I would really encourage you to just go and listen. Like the band that's in some of those cuts and the band that you see from Coventry at moments, it's just like, I don't understand how it's the same band. And then you hear like a Coventry, like the AC/DC bag at Coventry was like one of the best bags ever, in my opinion. So like, anyway, bring it back to your bracket. Like there were these jams, like the Yamar from It is the fucking best Yamar in the world, and it lost in the first round, I think, in your bracket. Stuff like that can't stand.
And you melted.
I'm not because it means people don't respect the music, honestly. There you go. Nice.
The 2.0 bracket ended up being a little tougher, I think, than the other ones because there was a lack of familiarity with some of the jams. And then there's also a little bit of legend that goes with also some of the jams. Like Nassau Tweezer obviously is a phenomenal jam, but the reputation and the legend of it, I think, superseded the actual jam itself.
Correct. Like to me, like the fact that Spack Piper didn't do better in that bracket or on anyone's bracket is a travesty, right?
But I will say, in Suffering Juke, Brian Brinkman helped me see that, and he and I's defense, most of the top 2.0 jams were captured in the bracket.
No,
I can't take ownership of how people vote, but I think that. Yeah, there you go, Cyrus. All right, I wanted to say that you're gonna notice a pattern here. Normally on episodes of The Lot, we have Osiris podcast because I love you guys and you have good sound equipment and you're very interesting. We usually have somebody related with like social justice or charity, right? With like Mockingbird, and then apparently I have a thing for journalists. Like I think journalists are great guests. So this is literally the perfect slate of guests right here. We have Mockingbird, a journalist, and an Osiris host.
By the way, you keep holding up my avatar. Yes, it's Phish Fucks. So that was from the Vegas run where they did the Castbot set. It was on the last night of the run. I'm leaving the venue after 4 nights in Vegas at Phish, and I look on the ground and I see a sticker on the stair on the way out that just says Phish Fucks. And so I snapped a photo, and I just think that's all I have to say.
By the way, 2.0 Cincinnati 03 fucks.
Ooh,
don't overlook it. Cincinnati 03.
It's like you're right. You're like, people are unfamiliar because people are emotional for different reasons about that era, right? And a lot of people were angry, and so they weren't seeing Phish. A lot of older heads I know I'm not an older head, but I know a lot of older heads were like mad about the direction the scene had taken. And so I know that like there's a reason why people didn't engage. But I mean, I paid $9 a month. I had every soundboard Phish show basically from that era on. Like I listened to a lot of them, and there's a lot that's worth listening to. And if you like this band, it's important to really there are darker gems. Like you like Carini, like fucking listen to 2.0. And it's sad to me that like it came from a place of such pain. Obviously, like sucks, and I wouldn't ever want them to jam like that again if that's what it meant. But there was a moment, or there were moments where the portal was open. And
that's the beauty of it, Jake, though. 2.0, that's the beauty of it to me, is that, yes, you could look at it in that dark. 2.0. Oh, my God. Jake, you have just spoke to me, Chip, as well. Like 2.0 is my jam. I saw one. My first show was 96, but I love 2.0. That's where my majority of my touring was. And you nailed it, man. Like that is the key to it. And the beauty is that we have 3.0. So you can look back at 2.0 fondly now, and you can look back at it and go, look at this incredible music and look where we're at. Without 3.0, maybe you look back darkly and go, oh no, 2.0 disaster. But look,
if
like
the end was the end. Yeah.
Right. But 3.0 gives you that permission to go back to that 2.0, and it's wonderful.
So what I'd like to ask you guys, me and about 20 of my friends have what we call like a Phish show book club, right? So where each week we have a theme and we nominate some shows and we have to listen through them together. And then we get together on hump day, we revisit those shows and talk about them. And right now we're going through everyone's first shows. So what I'd love from you guys is, how about like 2.0 shows? Give me your best 2.0 show, and we'll do a week where we just listen to the Wook Plus 2.0 show.
Cincinnati 03, I'll go with. Although you guys should have asked me my first and last 2.0 shows.
Which are?
Okay, what's your first and last 2.0 show?
SNL and Coventry.
I was at the dress rehearsal for SNL.
I was there. That was mine.
Yeah?
You were there?
Dude, I was there.
Oh, no shit, dude.
Yeah, man, that was me. I was there. I was a little kid.
Do I have a new best friend?
Chad was the creepy old dude playing piano.
The creepy old dude sitting in
Wait, not Peach, the other creepy old dude playing piano.
Did people get tickets to the actual one, or was it just the dress rehearsal? Because
I was in the audience for the dress rehearsal, and I was sitting in the dressing room of one of my friends for the show.
Nice. There you go.
Chip, we will definitely. I'm gonna talk to you.
I gotta catch you up,
but we're gonna get you a good theme and a good 2.0 show.
I got one.
I love that idea.
I got a 2.0 show.
Go, Kevin.
What do you got?
One where they all did the solo tunes. I call it the Kiss show. They all played one of their solo tunes. It was Nassau, maybe, or it was in spring of 2003. But they each played one off their solo records in the first set. I call it the Kiss album show because Kiss did their.
I'll find it.
But 2/20/03, Chicago, Rosemont. Speaking of Tim's bracket, right, for the 2.0 bracket, there were 4 songs from 220 that were on that.
Was the God of Jaboo one of them?
Correct. Yeah. And that is the best that's the best God of Jaboo ever.
Yes, it is. Yes,
just the most amazing Jaboo.
Don't you want to hear the best God of Jaboo ever? Come on, people.
God bless you, Jake.
No, but it's cool because like it's different. Like it's not like Phish has a big jam, and even today, like there are broad ways that they can take it, and then they keep narrowing from there. There are some 2.0 jams that go in directions that you like just don't see coming. There's I'm blanking on the date, but there's a Melt in particular that just like it goes totally type 2 after It Should Come Home. Yeah, my last 2.0 show, by the way, was the Camden show before Coventry. Because I was too young to go with my brother to Coventry because I was 15. My mom said no way, and or something like that. And my brother listened to Trey at that show. No, didn't listen to Trey. Excuse me. Trey told everyone to wait and not to go up. And my brother said, "Fuck it, I'm going up." And everyone who waited got stuck in the mud. Right? Got traffic. Yeah. So, fuck you, Trey.
I sent out. I was that weekend to Coventry. This guy who was the guitar tech for a band I really like my buddies were going up there, and he was like,
"What band? What band is
the
that?"
Radiators.
Okay.
Drink.
And he we got him a ride up there. The band, I said, Dave, you got to give Nestor the night off, and he gave Nestor the weekend off, the rest of the weekend, and he drove up there to the show with two buddies of mine. First time he'd ever saw Phish, and it was his 21st birthday.
Wow.
I have an update. Somebody voted for Train.
Oh no! It wasn't me. I promise.
There's always a troll that's gonna vote for Train.
I believe it was a fat finger, probably.
Is someone going to
Probably.
make a case for Train? I heard earlier no one was even standing up for Train, that they were a joke inclusion on your bracket, which undermines the credibility of the whole bracket. Someone's got to make the case for Train. Come on.
I did.
Chad tried to.
I mean,
Chad tried
What's
to.
the fucking case? What about
What part of Drops of Jupiter
what about
slaps
Meet
did you
Virginia? No one's
understand?
gonna talk about Meet Virginia.
Okay, well, you
You
name
know
a
what?
second.
Just jealous,
Hold on.
really.
Name three. Hold on. Whoever made the bracket, name 3 Train songs. Prove to me that you actually know.
I can't.
Drops of Jupiter,
I
Meet
can't.
Virginia.
Virginia, and
I
then
can't.
The third song is Calling All Angels.
Calling all angels. Thank you.
Calling all
Thank you, Tim.
angels.
They used to play that before the Angels took the field at Anaheim Stadium for years.
Back to
No wonder
baseball.
they
Let's
didn't
go.
No wonder they didn't
Bringing
win.
full circles there.
Yeah.
Chad, we flipped the switch, by the way, in case you were
What?
wondering.
What happened? Oh yeah, my brother.
There's a point in the lot every week where we flip the switch and where we go from like a reasonable show with some reasonable guests having reasonable conversations, and then whenever the switch is flipped, we're all just enough into the bag or having enough fun or shit's chaotic enough where it's all hell breaks loose.
Was it my fault? It seems like
No, it's great. It happens.
I blew
That's how we roll.
I said baseball.
No, it was.
I ruined it
No,
for Tim.
I think it happened when Tim told me to shut the fuck up. Like honestly, I think
That was when the switch flipped.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
It is almost time for the show, though. Trav's got the Greek back behind him. He also went to the Greek. Tim and Trav went to the Greek. So
Nice.
we're about to walk in with them.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't want to go, but I guess we should probably start to wrap up, right?
It's about
Gotta
time.
get to your seat,
You
man.
could always
You
mid-
don't wanna
Hey.
miss the first note.
I had to pee. Did you guys talk about the bracket?
We have a couple of times. All right,
we
let's
never
end with
finished.
that. I want to
Is there a
know.
bracket. Someone tell me about this bracket.
Oh yeah, you got to update.
All right, yeah, I'll give you the update on how the playing polls are going, and then maybe we can. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask, and when the switch is
You're
flipped,
doing great.
the multitasking doesn't work
You're doing
well.
great. You're doing great.
All right, Kings of Leon versus Queens of the Stone Age. I didn't get Jake's take. I want his take, and then I'll give you the how it's going.
Stone Age.
Yeah, Stone Age is
Good
winning 66% still. All right, we did this
That'll hold.
with the train. The reason that ended up was with the transportation round, right? So it's train versus REO Speedwagon versus the Cars versus Jefferson Airplane.
How we doing?
Well, yeah. What, Jake? What say you?
Oh, you still asking me?
Yeah, why not?
What
I
was
don't
it?
know.
The
The
car.
switch has been flipped.
Jefferson Airplane is the
I
right
like
answer.
Jefferson Airplane. They got a flute and shit, right?
Yes, they have a flute.
Yeah, Jefferson Airplane.
They're at 40. They're at 42%. The Cars are actually at 46%.
Yeah,
They were
go
tied.
go
They were-
Rick Ocasek.
They were
Yeah.
tied a little while
They were
ago,
tied,
but-
yeah, just a minute
For a
ago.
little, I love those tight, like the really tight matchups that go right
going
down.
If
to go for
train
the
wasn't
Cars
if
right
train
now.
wasn't in there, the airplane would be winning.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what's
Fucking
He
doing
took
it.
the one vote. Yeah.
Train is holding them back.
Well done on the transportation bracket on that
Thank
There
you.
you
as well.
Yeah,
All right.
we're big
That
time
was
here. We got a
my
lot of
contribution.
creative thoughts going on at Wook.
Where is
no, what?
the play and the
Yeah, no, I haven't launched those yet. I'm going to
Yeah, bring
release
these
those
live.
after the show because I can't multitask once the switch is flipped. But I will end on this. I want to add, well, I'm going to do a bunch of plugs after this, but what I want to do is a quick round table lightning round of who wins the bracket. We have Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, Dave Matthews Band, Huey Lewis, Seeger, Hootie and the Blowfish. Who else am I missing? That was it, right?
You're missing 2 more. I swear to you, we came up with 8, but you're only
Chad,
going with
there's
6.
six.
No,
There's
we had
6.
8. I know.
All right, well,
we
let's
had
just
8.
stick with those 6. We're live. We got a minute left.
All right.
I'm gonna say a name and then you tell me the answer, because all of our screens are slightly different. Tim.
I'm gonna say Bruce wins it.
Travis. Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
Boo!
All
right.
I get nothing.
Chip, we'll come back to Travis.
Will.
Wait, all right, Travis, what did you say? Boo!
Drink.
Drink.
Travis, change your name to who you want to be the winner. We're gonna send smoke signals. Chip, who you got?
Petty's gonna win, but my vote's for the boss.
All right, Matt, what you got?
I am the flip side of Chip. I think the boss will win, but I think Petty should.
What the? No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, Matt. PTSD.
Easy.
Kev, who do you got?
Tom Petty.
So we're pretty split right now between the boss and Petty. Jake, what are you thinking?
If anyone doesn't say Bruce Springsteen, it's the wrong answer.
Chad?
Jake. I thought we were buddies on the 2.0 thing, man.
Yo, man, I saw him at MetLife. He played for 3.5 hours. It was unreal. All right.
Bruce is hard. It's tough.
I saw Bruce come out with Phish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was Tom Marshall, buddy.
Sorry, Chad. Go.
Twitter's gonna Twitter. Huey Lewis comes
Nice.
out. Of that.
There you
Comes
go.
Comes
Hey,
out of that
you
bracket
can make an argument for
strong.
Huey, man.
Huey
19 top 10 hits. Huey is no joke.
Sports is the best album of the year that year.
Yama.
I think we're gonna get trolled and people are gonna pick Hootie and the Blowfish just to watch people melt.
Yep.
Team Hootie.
That was my first album, actually. My dad
The
bought
Troll-
CD, Hootie and the Blowfish.
Just so you guys know from years of experience, the troll ratio is around 5%.
Okay.
And I could tell this by like obvious ones like Jennifer Dances versus Tweezer, right? Like that's a way to find out what the troll level is at. It's around 5%. We have 5% trolls on these brackets. So
Yeah. I
if it's
think
more than
this one's
5%,
gonna-
there's some genuine interest, I think.
But Went is out there searching for trolls. He's going on Facebook right now and like
In the
looking for
Facebook
like
groups and saying, go vote.
yeah,
So-
like it's not gonna be all wooks. Like we're gonna get like some
We're getting public.
the only
enemy
other
into the
time
Elite
this
Eight.
the only other time this happened was I did a greatest drummer bracket, and the final was Neil Peart versus Fishman, and the Rush community caught wind of it.
oh yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
my
Rush.
account just blew up by a bunch of angry Canadians. Like it was out of control. And I think that might happen this time around. I'm excited for it. I welcome it.
Dude, this is gonna be
Travis
the
is in there
best.
with Bruce.
Okay, Bruce.
I think I'm going Petty, but very slightly over Bruce. It's a tough one. It's
That
going
is
to
a
be
tough
interesting
one.
to see how this goes.
Yeah, I
Um,
like my real answer is Petty for me, but I want to see Huey Lewis. If you're watching out there, vote Huey Lewis in the news. Just
Can I just ask
fuck
one
with us.
question?
Yeah,
Why
sure.
isn't Primus in this conversation?
oh, they're in.
This chat sucks. No, they're not.
No,
but
no,
they should
Primus
have
is in
been.
the bracket.
Are
There
you
they
sure?
are.
Oh, they are?
No, they're not.
I don't think I
They
saw them.
should be.
Primus sucks, all right?
Primus sucks.
Any Primus fans out
Because
there?
Llama couldn't remember fucking Les Claypool's name.
Yeah, that's what they say. Have you never been to a Primus show? That's Les's thing. Everyone says Primus sucks and fuck you, Les. It's like a whole counterintuitive thing.
Yeah.
It's like the Brown
Oh.
thing with Ween.
The super suckers, everybody gives the band the finger.
Exactly.
You know, we haven't actually released the
At a
image.
Primus show.
We could get Primus in there.
No,
get
Primus
myself
does
on
not
the-
deserve to be
Yeah,
in there.
Primus doesn't belong in there. What did they
Yeah,
do?
they
The South
do.
Park
All right,
thing?
shake hands with.
No,
All right.
let's talk later about Primus. All right, don't be
Guys, we got a
Primus.
minute left. I appreciate the shit out of all of you. The Wook Plus guys, I love you. Tim, thank you for coming. Chip, it's a pleasure. Jake, thank you. We have the bracket. It's up. It's live. Tune in. We have the Wook blog returning. World's Greatest Chad show is coming. We'll be back next week with another lot. I'm doing this plug thing like I'm a professional, but we're not. So just check Twitter. The shit will be on there. I love you all. Enjoy this show. Thank you guys. This has been a lot of fun. I'll catch you guys next time. All right.